Good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody today?
It's good morning, isn't it? Oh.
Well, the weather's affecting us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had bad weather uh, all day yesterday. It rained here. It's been raining here for I don't know, off and on all week. So
We were getting some rain a few days ago, and this coming weekend we're supposed to be getting rain for 5 days straight.
Again?
sound like us this past week.
I hope it doesn't stay that way here. I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like every weekend during the week it's been real nice, warm weather, Actually we broke broke a record, for the warmest day, like we got above 70. And then on the weekends it gets rainy, maybe gets a high of 40.
Yeah, it's a little chilly here now. It's been in the 80s last week.
Lucky.
We haven't gotten that high yet. We did get into the 70s.
It's about as high as we've gotten.
Last night it was almost 30.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I'm ready for warm weather.
Me too.
Screw this cold stuff.
Hibernation's over. That's not even 50 here today yet.
Okay, I got this thing all shared out now.
Yeah, it was 42 last night. It's only going to get in the 60s today.
Yeah, it's gonna be a few days before it gets up into the 60s. I had to turn my heater back on. I had it turned off, and then it just got so cold.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got our furnace back on too.
Tuesday 75, 77, 80, 81, 82, 85.
Must be nice.
83. Yeah. If
I
the
can get
rain
a lot of, with that kind of weather, I can get a lot of yard work done.
I can't get anything done out here because our yard is just soaked.
Yeah, I'm not going to be seeing 70s until Saturday.
I didn't even want to look.
As high
every time I plan something to go out on the weekend, like a paranormal investigation, all of a sudden the weather says, fuck you, you're staying home. Because it ends up rainy and, it's an outdoor location or something. So if rainy, that spoils that right there because you don't want a chance the equipment getting ruined.
Well, we were supposed to do something last weekend and it got rained out.
Yeah, I need to get out of the house because I hibernate in the wintertime.
It's coming. It's coming. So today we're going to be talking about night 2 of WrestleMania. I was unable to be here for the first one. That really sucked, but I had something I had to take care of that took quite a bit longer than I thought it would. But everything panned out okay. So
yeah, had a pretty good show. But life happens. There's other things besides.
Yeah, wrestling. It does. I was literally on here when I got the phone call. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, it's like my stuff today is like this. I didn't sleep well last night at all. I was at work last night. I didn't probably go to sleep till like 4 in the morning.
Oh,
ouch!
Yeah,
and
dragging.
Being a busy day as it is, that's not good.
No, I just gotta. I'll go to bed early tonight, so at least that's the plan, anyway.
Well, Chris has the link for the show.
Okay.
He ended up staying up late too last night.
Mine wasn't by choice. I just couldn't sleep. Past 3 or 4 nights, I hadn't been able to sleep.
And sometimes we have that problem.
But that's good. Second night was really good.
It was really good. And a nice little surprise right there in the beginning, Stephanie McMahon coming out and addressing the crowd.
Well, that was planned because they planned it that way. Triple H took over night one, and then she did night two.
Yeah, but who would have expected to see her come out? But at the same time, I guess it really wouldn't be a surprise now that Vince is no longer in the company.
Right, and her and Triple H are really married in real life, so
Yeah.
you know it just makes sense for them to kind of share that responsibility.
Yeah. Um, as of last I knew, yes, she is back, but as of right now, she still does not have an official position with the company yet. But I think Triple H is trying to get it to where she does have something there.
Yeah, and you think about it, official position having there, and you're going to wind up getting paid for, that position and all that. She's just there. I mean, it ain't like they're hurting for money. You know.
No, no.
And I think the company's in the right hands moving forward. Without Vince McMahon there, I mean, it got a little old with Vince McMahon rehashing it and then putting himself in the storylines a lot. It got old real fast. I think this with Triple H, The Rock being involved now behind the scenes and all of that, I think we're going to see some cool shit happen.
Well, it worked good in the '90s, the whole Attitude Era, and but it's the I think with Vince being in charge of everything, it was like everything went through him. It was his final decision on a lot of stuff, and I mean, as good as he is, there was things that didn't work.
Right.
Um,
That's why you got to have like a little,
you got to have a group of people.
right, a little group of people to do the writing and the storylines and like flinging those ideas back and forth amongst each other, and not one person saying my words law, that's it, this is how it's going to go.
Well, it's like the Katie Vick Kane thing, you know, and you know, I mean, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of good stuff that happened in the '90s, but there's also some dumb,
Well,
excuse me,
Well,
dumb shit.
dumb stuff had started happening in like 98, 99, and just went on from there. There in the middle, when the Attitude Era first started, it was the most exciting time for everybody.
I remember I watched a documentary on that whole that thing there, and he had went to the locker room and told them, nothing's off the table.
Yes.
He started giving them a little bit of freedom to work their characters, work storylines a little bit differently, and with that, like the Godfather and all those other characters coming and pushing the envelope, it wound up giving us uh, a lot of good stuff back then. So
Well,
it shows.
a lot of these characters were amped up extensions of who they really were. Like Godfather,
Right.
for example, he has owned a strip club, at least one strip club in Vegas, for as long as I can remember.
Well, it shows, letting them have a little bit more freedom to do what they want. Push the limits on the show and through their characters worked. And that's kind of what Triple H is
yeah,
doing, but in a different way.
yeah.
It's giving them a lot more freedom and ideas, to work stuff. So
And
it's
I
working.
think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So, I like the idea of them being in charge now because one, you've got Triple H, who was a wrestler at one time.
Mhm.
The Rock, who was a wrestler at one time. Yeah, Stephanie dabbled a little bit, but she's pretty much been behind the scenes most of her life. So you've got a lot of experience there between the three of them to put on some great shows.
Even though Stephanie didn't really do a whole lot of wrestling, she was very much
Well,
behind that women's.
that's what I meant. She was really behind the scenes helping the women
Yeah.
move their division forward. She was a great part of that, helping them women develop their characters. You may not have seen her that much, but she was backstage all the time helping them women and other people develop their characters and move forward.
So now that they are in this new era, maybe we will finally get that second Evolution pay per view that a lot of people have been wanting.
And then there's been talks. I don't know. They're gonna have to settle a lot of hurt feelings, I guess is the nice way to put it. But now that Vince is no longer in charge, there's the possibility both Triple H and both the con people, the presidents on both sides, are not saying it's not possible. No, I mean they're saying it's more possible now than ever for AEW and WWE to do some kind of crossover thing or
I'm not
collaborations.
sure of that because AEW is still taking a lot of shots at them. Did you see the interview with Will Ospreay a week ago? He Triple H had said something in one of the press conferences when he was talking about a lot of these free agents and well they didn't want to do the grind. They went with the one that had more money but less working dates and things like that. He kind of brought that up, saying, "Oh well, they don't want to take care of the grind." Here's Chris. Hey, Chris.
Hey, sorry everybody.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
And,
This is one of those days, man. It's all right.
and Will Ospreay did an interview talking about that and saying that the only reason that the man who said that, without actually naming him, the only reason that he is in the position that he's in is because he was grinding the boss's daughter. And
Yes, saw that.
and John Moxley's wife was the one doing the interview, and you could see it on her face how extremely uncomfortable she was when he made that comment.
Well, I think that they should just at least make it so that some of these wrestlers don't have to do that weight anymore. I mean, with Vince in charge, those contracts were pretty ironclad, and they couldn't go here and they couldn't go there. They had to wait a year before they could go to someplace new or whatever. I think that's got to stop.
I think those
Either way.
contracts will be that way from now on.
The thing about that Osprey thing was like the week before Edge, Adam Copeland, whatever you want to, came out and was like, let's not do this crap anymore. And we're better than that and blah blah blah. And then they had like 2 segments the next week where they just like ripped right back into WWE again. So it was like what Edge said and all that emotion and all that right out the window.
Well, it don't make any dang sense business wise.
No, it doesn't.
Because WWE is just so massively big. You're not going to beat them.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I mean, that was proven. I mean, Ted Turner was a billionaire, and he owned WCW for a long time, and he couldn't compete. I mean, they lost that Monday Night War.
They did, but on the same token, the reason that they lost it was not just because of the whole Austin McMahon rivalry, that had to happen. That was their answer to the NWO. But on the flip side of that, with the NWO, it just got so diluted.
Yeah, that got out of. I mean, that got out of control after a certain point. It's like,
Yeah.
what, you're going to turn the whole locker room into NWO, and
Right.
come on.
Well, right behind you, they divided Wolfpack and Black and White and
the LWO was formed
Uh,
back then.
LWO and
You
yeah.
know,
They just milked it for all it was worth. If they would have kept it
kept
small,
it like elite.
right?
Like only the best of the best were involved in it.
And
That's
that-
what it
that-
should have been.
How it
Another-
should have stayed, you know.
another reason they lost it was
I
because
did
of all those
like
big
the Wolfpack
contracts.
thing though for a while. I did like the Wolfpack thing for a while. Good.
Not necessarily the best of the best, but they should have kept it to just ex WWF wrestlers. Once they
Yeah.
started bringing in the WCW wrestlers, then
That's where it got out of control.
Yeah.
it just got really bad. And then when Vince Russo came in and
Well-
started doing all of that stupid stuff.
Also, Ted was like wanting out anyways too.
Yeah.
So he was looking to sell the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sold it to Time Warner, I think, and that they didn't give a crap about wrestling, and that's when it
No.
kind of just went.
That
Yep.
that was when
That's where it went.
WCW was on his last leg.
Yep, that's about the time that
I wonder
They
how
got
much
out.
money they lost when they bought it from Ted Turner to the point where they sold it to Vince. I bet
Yeah,
they
they
lost
didn't.
millions.
Yeah, they didn't even care. They were just like, yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
They didn't. I mean, it could have stayed big because Southern
got
based
bought up.
and
it got bought up to Vince in like a junk sale.
yeah,
Like they sold it off in pieces, and it cost Vince a lot less to buy it off in pieces than it did to buy it off as a whole.
right.
I heard that he paid $750,000 for that.
Gosh, dog.
Damn, I believe it. I've heard something like that too. For the main operating WCW, and then all the little chunks. But yeah, basically, yeah.
And then when
$50,000.
and
That
see, the other thing that ruined that too, that I watched on the dark side of the ring, is when Hogan came over to WCW. He had creative control
Yeah,
over his character.
yeah. That
That was-
long-standing BS rumor that Vince
Yeah.
sent him over there to run WCW in the long run.
No, but he had creative control. He basically did ruin it because
Yeah.
the whole thing, there was that big thing. Oh, Jeff Jarrett still steamed about it, where it was like the finger poke, and then Jeff.
that's the one that everybody is saying was the death of WCW, but it was already going in that direction with Time Warner.
I think
Right.
that was the jump the shark moment, if you will, though. That
Yeah.
totally that shoved it over the edge.
I mean, it kind of showed you also when you heard all the interviews on the dark side of the ring about that whole incident, that it really made Hogan look like an ass.
Made all of them look like an ass.
You know, I mean, Vince Russo and what was Bischoff were arguing like you wouldn't, and they're supposed to be working together on the same company. Come on, people. You
Yep.
know, it ain't going to work if you got two chiefs fighting each other.
Right.
And to this day, they still call each other names in these interviews. It was kind of hard to watch. It's like, oh, he's nothing but a liar. Yeah, this one's nothing but a liar. He's delusional.
The absolute worst thing that they did on television was when they decided to reboot everything by vacating all the titles.
The new blood and
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
That was just terrible.
I remember the pay-per-view, where it's like, new blood versus old school guys. I'm like, oh, this might be a pretty good pay-per-view. And then all the new blood won everything. I was like, well, that was shit.
Yeah.
Same. I was kind of like, didn't one old person win something? But it's still like, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
shit.
well, some of them guys are still wrestling. They're in their 50s and 60s, and they're pretty good shape.
Yeah. Well, you did back then.
You know, some of them didn't abuse.
They're still wrestling.
Some of them didn't even abuse their bodies like these guys do today.
Uh-oh. Is that you?
Yeah, they're going right by the house.
Oh, okay. They do the same at my house too. So
I thought that was your dog there.
I'm in a very small community, and it's mostly elderly people that live out here right now. Unfortunately, I'm on my way out because this place is gone downhill. You know, it's it's an old trailer court that got turned into a condo community.
Oh.
Okay. And the people that were on the board of directors were like just letting the older people in here and stuff when they had a lot of the young, and then they had a lot of young people coming in with kids, and they decided, oh, we're going to tear down the playground.
Wow.
They want a retirement community.
I've lived here for 8 years, and in that time, all the young families have gotten smart and got out of here. But the first 3 or 4 years, it's like every year the kids were like doubling in numbers out here, you know. And I told them they need to redo that playground. They could have done it for free. They didn't want to listen to me. You know, they use this straight road here as like a drag strip at night. Some of them, it's ridiculous.
Same.
My street is too. We have a school on the end, for college classes, and when they're done, they just fly right by.
Why?
Speed limit's 25. They're going every bit 45.
Yeah. We got a park across the street. The hospital's about half a mile that way. School down that way. Same. Both ways.
It's out in the country. I'm out in the country here.
Well, that's even worse.
Just to get to town.
Yeah.
It's 5 miles down the road to get to the town.
Wow.
And the hospital. It's all about 5 miles down the road.
Yeah, we live right in the middle of the city. I'm right next to the historical square. So
you're right by work then.
Yeah, I'm like, I can literally walk to work if I wanted to.
There's more coming
My
in.
class is just down the street, so I mean, I can see my martial arts class from my window here.
Oh,
That's
cool.
Nice put in what the gas prices are right now.
Yeah,
legit.
They were here. They were up to $3.79. Then went down to $3.60
like a fire truck
and $3.50 something, and now it's back up to $3.74.
Ours are $3.94, I think, right now.
Wow. I hope it goes down in a couple of months.
That's right, size fire truck.
There's places. If you do a Safeway stop, Jeremy, let me know. I'll give you my Safeway points. I got like 2,000 of them.
Do y'all know of an app called I think it's called Gas Buddy?
Gas Buddy, Upside something. They save a lot. Whichever one you use, they help a lot.
Yeah, Gas Buddy. If I think that's the name of it, you go and you go on the app and people, users update the gas prices, on there, so you can look for the cheapest gas in your area, or even if you're traveling.
I got one, and it's up to $0.25 per gallon. It only works at certain stations that have registered, but you pull in there and it's like a $3.25. It'll be $3 a gallon, and since I do like 1,800 miles a week, I'll find it on my phone and I'll let you know. But yeah, I drive like 1,500 to 1,800 miles a week, so it's a tank of gas for me. So yeah, medical courier. So it's
Okay.
an important job, but yeah. It's real nice. And it has some restaurants with it too. So
We just had 3 fire trucks come in.
good Lord.
That ain't good. That sounds like a fire.
That means it could be an exciting day because they'll have to hook up right across the street from me. Because they've done that. There was an explosion a couple of years ago in the back by the dump, and they had to hook up and run their hoses all the way up the road and stuff to get there.
You don't have anywhere to go the rest of the day, do you?
No,
Good, because the way it sounded like you're not going to be able to get out.
that's all right. It wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, let's get back to WrestleMania.
Let's get us back to WrestleMania.
Yeah, here we are, 27 minutes into the show. We haven't even gotten to the first match yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I will say this: night one was great. There was a couple, we talked about a couple bad matches in there.
I was disappointed.
I wasn't disappointed with one. There was a couple matches in there that were just crap.
Usos night one?
Do what?
Wasn't Usos night one?
Yes.
Twin versus Twin.
I
was totally disappointed by that match.
Everybody was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad Jay won. I mean, the Wright brother won. I get that. But this kickoff thing, let's see who's got the best super kick and let's see who could do this better than the other one. Come on, guys. You're better than that. I mean, you guys can fly off the ropes. You can, I've seen you guys do some amazing shit as tag teams, and they both know submission moves.
That's the key word. That's the key phrase, as a tag team.
But still,
each other.
I was expecting a much better match. I mean, I was expecting that crowd to go, and they didn't. They didn't either. I was expecting them to chant, "This is awesome," and they didn't.
No.
That match was the biggest disappointment of the night.
To me, the best match was Sami Zayn and Gunther.
Yeah.
No, yeah. That was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
I think that's what we said too, wasn't it, Donald?
No, I'll take the ladder match.
Ladder match, yeah.
Ladder
I knew
match.
We're talking about both those two. I couldn't
Ladder
remember.
match was great.
All in all, night one was really, really good. That was a madhouse, that main event.
Now two just everything was good on two.
Yeah.
Um,
Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. I actually saw a video where when they
I called that.
When
I called that before it even happened.
When they started doing the bagpipes with Drew McIntyre, somebody was recording and they actually screamed out something about Roddy Piper being there. And then he had to remind himself, oh, wait a minute, Piper's dead.
yeah.
Well, maybe Piper was there in spirit.
Oh, yeah. And I thought that was cool as hell, the way that they did that.
I mean, if Piper was alive, he wouldn't have missed the WrestleMania. He would have done that somehow, shape, or form.
Oh, I'm sure he would have. But I thought they did really, really good for that. The intro for Seth Rollins, though, I was not expecting that. Who would have thought that you would go from bagpipes for Drew McIntyre to accordions for Seth Rollins?
Accordions and violins, and yeah, it was
an entire orchestra almost.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much all of that. I mean, I understand it's probably some kind of group that's there in Philly with all those larger than life outfits.
Oh,
when they started coming down, it's like, what the hell am I looking at?
He looks like he raided Becky's closet again.
Speaking of outfits for Seth Rollins, I was disappointed in one thing on night one. He should have come out wearing what The Rock wore when he first debuted in the WWF with that whole string thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rollins should have been wearing that when he came out for the Bloodline match the night before.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Shoulda,
You shoulda-
coulda, woulda, but it never happened.
Should have came out as Seth Cabana. I mean, heck.
I was, I was kind of looking at Drew. I figured Seth was going to wind up losing.
Well,
And
yeah.
I knew
Drew
Prince
three.
was fixing. Prince. I knew
Priest.
Priest, not Prince. He's dead too. Priest, cashing in. I was like, and then when Drew was down there messing around with CM Punk, and I was like, and then as soon as CM Punk swept his legs, I was like,
His legs, yeah.
here he comes.
Yep.
He's
You knew
coming.
that was going to happen.
Yep.
No, I was sitting here and I was watching it, and I was telling my wife, I said, "You watch." I said, and I said it even on our podcast. Damian Priest is going to cash in on the Seth Rollins match.
I knew he was cashing in.
There
that
was
night.
no
I just
way
didn't
he
know
was going to
which.
mess with the bloodline to try to cash in on the bloodline, because he had Cody and the bloodline, and didn't want to mess with that. His easier,
They did do that.
his easier target, if Seth Rollins would have been Seth Rollins because he was already injured. And or like what happened where CM Punk, kind of, so he caught Drew McIntyre way off guard. Basically is the only way you can put it. He came out of nowhere and did it. And that was a smart thing to do.
I was surprised to see that CM Punk got as physical as he did.
Maybe he's healthier than letting on.
Yeah.
They've done that before too. A lot of wrestlers have done that before.
I mean, he literally took off his arm brace and used it to clothesline hit the guy.
I know.
Or they come out with a crutch and they throw the crutch away and say, "Okay, I'm just fine now."
Right? Yeah.
Surprise.
But, I mean, literally, that's what CM Punk did, though. He took off his elbow brace and then used it to clothesline the guy.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously his arm is better than they're letting on, or he wouldn't be able to do that medically.
Right.
Yeah. But it was also a really touching moment there after Drew pinned Seth. Seth was outside the ring and he was pointing at him. You deserve this.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
Yeah. And Punk even told him, "Why you here? Go celebrate." And Drew just kept talking crap to him. So.
Yeah, and that'll heat that rivalry up.
Yeah.
When he's completely cleared, him and Drew will go at it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, as of right now, the word is Drew still has not re-signed with them yet.
So it's through May, isn't it, though, his contract?
Huh?
I think his contract is through May.
Through the end of May, yes.
If I remember right. So.
And he is featured on the poster for the Clash at the Castle, which isn't until September, I think.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of word going on.
Remember that old saying,
Gunther.
"Card subject to change."
I was going to say asterisk card subject to change.
Yep.
I know, but damn, for Drew to leave the company before they do a pay-per-view in Scotland, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder, and you can't blame him. Think about it. His first run as champion, he got in front of no audience, really.
He carried it.
No live audience.
The first two titles he didn't have.
Right. So, and then now this time he gets the title, and he held it all, maybe 5 minutes?
5 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be seeing this in the future. Drew Galloway is all elite.
I mean, you think about it, he's got a reason where he might want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
In his eyes, he got gypped off and ripped off twice or 3 times, you know.
But at least he got the moment that he wanted, and that was
winning it in front of a crowd.
yes.
How old is
He
he?
got
And
that.
it was a sold out crowd.
Yep. And he's 38, so who knows? Maybe he wants that less grind now too. He works the semi-physical style.
He
Who knows?
don't get much more physical than Drew.
I
And
mean,
and that finisher, he lands on his back every damn time.
you know,
I mean,
I think when he first came in from NXT,
the chosen one.
they did it too early, and I think he realized that. And then when he left,
And he was small too.
yeah, I was just gonna say when he left, he comes back, he's all bulked up. I'm thinking steroids helped with that.
No,
But he got,
if he was on steroids, he would be much more jacked than he was.
but he comes back, he's bigger, he's better in the ring, and he's better on the mic.
Yes.
He learned.
So somewheres when he left, he wasn't gone for good. He was sitting there learning from
He went
somebody.
to TNA for a while, and
Yeah, but he must have been learning from somebody. Somebody was
good teachers there.
to-
Bully Ray taught there for a while. Tommy Dreamer has always been helping TNA out. So good people to help you learn how to get good in the ring, whether you like them or not
because being
personally.
part of that whole group, the only one that was worth a damn out of that 3MB was Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal.
Oh, they really messed up on gender.
But that redhead, and I can't. Yeah,
Heath Slater.
Yeah, Heath Slater, and then the other guy is sitting there now down there by doing commentator all the time.
Have you ever noticed that the
What's his name?
implied leader of each of these factions are almost always the least successful when it comes to a singles career?
Yep.
Yep. Except only one member of the Shield still has a heavyweight belt.
That's true, but when you look at all 3 of them,
Yeah, but he's over there in AEW right now.
Yep. Moxley.
That's different. I mean, he's not. If he was over in WWE, his career might not have been as successful.
He wouldn't have been anything. He would have
Right.
been mid-card best.
Right.
And he was always my favorite, truthfully.
Big fish in a small pond.
In AEW, I don't like him so much, but in
His
Shield,
career,
I liked him.
his career improved over there.
Yeah, it did. He's the IWGP champ, though.
Sometimes that's where it takes. They got what's her name's over there too now.
Renee,
Sasha Banks.
Yeah, Sasha Banks is over there. I was trying to think of her name, Mercedes something.
Mercedes Monet.
Yeah, Monet.
and she's not going to have her first match for at least another month.
Yeah.
And she's been there for over a month now.
I think she's still recovering from that broken ankle/foot thing completely.
Okay. That would make sense.
I had one. It lasted me over a year before it was completely healed. So depending on how bad hers was.
Oh, wow. And as physical as they get.
Yeah.
Well, she just got back from Japan.
Yeah.
So
And that's where Willow Nightingale,
New
her
Japan,
ankle got broken that match.
that New Japan wrestling place. That's where she was wrestling.
Yeah. She was supposed to win the title that Willow Nightingale won, and she broke her ankle in that match.
How far she won a title over there?
Do what?
Didn't she win a title in one of her first matches?
She won a title over there, and then she was supposed to win another one that was the first ever women's something against Willow Nightingale, and she got her ankle broken that match. That's why in her first interview, when she was talking about Willow, she glanced down at her ankle. If you noticed, I have unfinished business with you, and she looked down at her ankle.
Okay.
I assume maybe that was just me reading too much into it, but I assume that's what's going to happen at some point. She needs to be a heel. Stop being a face, by the way.
There's always a little bit of Easter eggs in every interview if you really, really pay attention.
Yeah. And in AEW, they don't care. You can talk about WWE, AEW, AWA, New Japan. They don't care. Just
yeah, they're all acknowledging each other, which I think.
Yeah.
Well, and don't think that I didn't catch that little comment you made on Thursday night when you were saying you acknowledge me and Nick and
That's just from you guys doing such good work. That's all I meant by that one. Your 100th episode, that was awesome.
It really was awesome. But man,
Here's to 100 more.
Making that video was a bitch.
I bet. I even saw me in there. Heck, I was like, what the hell?
Every person that we had on the show was on there, including these two guys.
Yep, I saw them too. Yep.
So the next match at WrestleMania, to me, it was the one that it made sense for what they did for it, but it just felt like it was out of place for an event of this magnitude.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That it didn't seem like it belonged on the card.
Probably why they tried to throw Bubba Bully Ray into there to make it more Philadelphia friendly.
I think that was why, because he got his start there in Philadelphia.
And he was on Busted Open. I don't know if you guys listened to that at all, but he said it was like a last minute thing too. They called him like the night before.
Oh, wow.
Or 2 days before. I can't remember which they said, but he said it was very last minute. He didn't even know.
Yeah, well, that'll remind me of a thing happening at the last match. You know, the main event that night that
With
I saw an
Taker.
interview. Yeah, he was already there, of course. You know, with all the stuff going on, and Hunter called him Tuesday. So you know, we got this idea. You know, if you want to be a part of it, you know, we'd love you to be in there. And of course, Mark was talking. You know, it's like, you know, I'd love to. I said, but make sure that you know the other guys are okay with it. You know, it's like if they're not, it's no big deal.
Right.
And just let me know.
Who would not be okay working with Taker?
He
Right.
said that. He said, you know, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about, you know, them. And he said that. So well, we got some ideas we're kicking around. And of course, went through. I think Wednesday. Michael Hayes called him and pretty much said the same thing. Yeah, we got some ideas. You know, just letting you know. Blah blah blah. And he was up in the box seats, up in his, you know, thing watching, you know, with everybody else, and he was there with his family and friends there watching it, and he said, you know, within I don't know, it was halfway through the night, you know, they're still sitting there watching the thing. Halfway through the night, he gets a text message. He's like, "Oop, I gotta go," and leaves. So it's like, you know, he knew something was happening. He just didn't know exactly what was going to go down.
Right.
But, you know, it was like halfway through the night, he gets a text and he has to run down and, you know, he said it's funny because you know you got this big 6'5", however tall he is, you know, so trying to run down and be inconspicuous, you know, yeah, and try to get in position and all that.
Can you imagine that? Trying to run through all the fans and
yeah, he said even after it happened, he got they ran out with, you know, a big group of guys, and he got on a cart and drove back around the gorilla area, and
Nice.
He said,
You
"Yeah,
know that the fans notice somebody a foot taller than them walking by.
yeah,
But it was a good thing that Bubba Ray was available to do something, but he was there anyway. He was there Friday night for the Hall of Fame.
Yep. And he was there on that TV show or on that radio show. He's a host on that, and they go to wherever Mania goes that weekend too and do their own thing. So
Well,
he was in town for sure.
he was there for Paul Heyman on Friday night.
And Paul Heyman. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Paul Heyman was a big part of his career. You know, as
Yep.
the Dusty Boys, as far as
Oh,
the
you-
Dusty
you-
Boys are
you-
concerned.
you could see a lot of the old ACW guys, you know, sitting at
Oh yeah, you did.
there.
Yeah, if
You,
it
I didn't even
was
know.
Paul Heyman, there'd be a quarter of the wrestlers out there now that wouldn't be wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean, I watched that documentary on him, and I was like shocked. I mean, I know, I think we all know that these guys like Heyman play a character, play a role.
right.
Yeah.
All right. But you don't realize how good and decent of a person they are until you see a documentary like that.
Right. Came up selling pictures to the
Yeah, and you think
McMahon's
about,
dad.
yeah, and you think about that.
And then all the wrestlers that says, oh, he helped me behind the scenes. He always gave me advice, always did this, all these different wrestlers. And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I think
Paul Heyman probably has had much of an effect on as many wrestlers as Dusty Rhodes did.
Yeah. That tree is spreading its branches still.
yeah, I think, you know, now, and it happened it's happened in the past, but now you got, even I've heard comments on different wrestlers, like the camaraderie behind the scenes in WWE is so much different, because back in the Attitude Era, it was like, you know, people, you know, pulling for position, you know,
Yep.
who's the top guy, you know, wanting to be the top guy, and, you know, maybe some backstabbing underhanded stuff going on. But he said now it's like, you know, everybody's working together to make a better product overall.
And I think
That-
I
And it
think
helps,
that's going
and
to
it
carry on even stronger with Triple H and them at the helm.
Yeah.
It helps to have somebody who used to wrestle being the guy in charge, because not only is he looking at it from a business standpoint, but he's also looking at it from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, because he's been there, done that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like, you know, use you up until I can't use you no more, then I'll just kick you out.
Right.
Mr. Rising himself.
Right.
Mr. Terrorizing.
Like, oh, you know, we're going to release you, you know, if you can't make it back to work by a certain time. And you know, a lot of wrestlers used to wrestle injured.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they'd get, and you wonder how they would get cleared and wrestle that way. Like, take, for example, Cody Rhodes when he was all bruised up so bad. Like, wasn't that last year at WrestleMania?
2 years ago, right after.
Oh, yeah, he was like,
Seth.
fought
Yeah,
Seth
the big
Rollins,
old
and he was all bruised up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was Cody's.
Now, no doctor in his right mind would have cleared a guy for that.
The
Well,
way
I think-
it was explained was that it was a complete tear. Going out there and wrestling after that, the doctor said he could not possibly do any more damage than there already is.
That's
right,
what I
it's-
heard.
It's already tore. So, I mean,
If it was a
and-
partial
I'm
tear,
just
it would have been
saying,
different.
It's nuts. That's nuts to think you have to go and do that.
Well, being that the injury happened literally the day before the pay-per-view, and everybody was so invested on that because that was literally their
I
rubber.
get it, but still.
Yeah.
that was Cody's, I guess, work ethic.
Yeah, that was Cody's call. I was
Coming
going
in.
to say.
But see, they should have a better medical thing about this because these wrestlers that wrestled injured over the years, and we can name quite a few of that. That's a big list. Okay, they might not be so crippled or retired or whatever today.
Absolutely. But I mean, the same can be said for any sport.
If they were like, they had more restrictions. The WWE had more restrictions on letting wrestlers injured. I mean, I know the show must go on, but you got quite a few wrestlers that would jump in and take somebody's spot.
They could have. And it's funny that you
even if it is last minute, the health and the concern of the wrestler's well-being should be on a top priority of a list.
It should be.
Bring this up because just yesterday, I think it was, I watched an interview with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh wow!
And this wasn't about an injury of his, but this was when his son was born back in '87.
I remember
when he won the Intercontinental title, he was supposed to hold that for the better part of a year, at least into 1988. But when his son was born, he asked everybody, "Hey, can I have 2 weeks? Just 2 weeks off the road?" They gave him his 2 weeks, but they made him drop the belt because they didn't want the belt to be inactive for 2 weeks. So, and that was when got that big thing.
But yet now the belt will be inactive for up to 30 days or more because the wrestler got a contract where they don't defend it. And I think that's bullshit because what happened to the old rule, and if anybody who's been watching wrestling as long as I have will know this rule, that if you are not able to defend your title every 30 days, they strip you of that title.
Yeah.
So that's the way it used to be back in the old days.
That's what I said. It used to be that way.
Tell them the average, Jeremy.
It should be happening now too. I mean, they made Rhea forfeit her title, but she's going to be gone for months.
Legit injury.
I'm still trying to figure out what all happened with that.
I think that was something else. I don't think that had nothing to do with Liv. They're just using Liv as a scapegoat on that one.
Yeah,
well, it happened during that thing. It was one of the when she threw Rhea against a case or a wall.
Okay. That I keep seeing the chair thing when they threw the chair. Everyone keeps saying it's that spot, and I'm like, no.
No, there was more to it.
It was when she landed up against the wall.
Okay.
Or one of those big ass cases.
That I'll believe. I'll believe.
They said that the report is that it was just a freak accident. There's no heat on Liv at all. It's just one of those things that just happened.
Except from fans. And I like her response. Why weren't you crying for me when I got hurt by her? I love that. That's a great heel response.
Well, you use that, it's bad that it happened, and wrestlers are, well, let's use this. Let's use it in the storyline. Get that heat.
And it looks like
what happens, they can go back and find anything that can be used and make it seamless.
Like the Bucks.
Well, there's also a rumor out there. I kind of watch the rumor mills a little bit, and I know the rumors. There's a rumor that they're about to add a +1.
The Judgment Day?
No, Rhea Ripley and her family.
I did hear that rumor too.
So her injury may even be fake, and she might be out to be giving birth and to become an actual mommy.
I would much rather them announce that she is going to have a baby.
Yeah, like they did with Becky.
Yeah, but maybe she isn't ready for that to be announced herself.
Might.
That could be.
You got to think about her privacy too. because she's got that right.
Yeah. And speaking of which, if you guys haven't heard, Ruby Riott is now pregnant too.
Yeah.
Well, and two, you think about going back to the Rhea
Sorry.
Ripley thing. For her to announce that she's pregnant and they're in the whole storyline with Dom and all that stuff, it wouldn't coincide with the storyline.
That's true.
Right.
Very true.
Look at the publicity that Dominic's marriage, his wedding got.
Yeah.
I know, but
And there's still people that there's still fans that think they're together. It's like,
I know.
Even when she was leaving, she
and I
kind of still threw that hint up of me and him, me and
Yeah,
Dom.
I got a lot of wrestling posts that comes through my Facebook, and people talking about the matches at WrestleMania and talking about why did this go that way, this go that way. It's like, Roman didn't defend the title and blah blah blah, and they're talking about the Rhea Ripley thing, and they're going back and forth with all this storyline stuff, and people are arguing back and forth and I'm just like, it's a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting too this is really the stuff that goes on, and people's like, Dom and Rhea are together and blah blah blah. It's like, people are like, Dom is married to his high school sweetheart, blah blah blah. He just got married, and it's like you can't. Some people can't take the reality in the storyline and separate.
They put Rhea Ripley with Dom in order to give Dom's bad guy persona against his dad a little more credibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but he's been in jail. Come on.
And maybe to help him kind of become the character that he's become, whether you like him or not. I mean,
well, it's like the Roman Reigns thing. If the fans are hating you that much when you just show up and try to speak, then you're doing your job.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Solo.
And that's what he's saying. And see,
we want Roman.
And I was also just reading an article a few minutes ago. Becky Lynch has confirmed that Seth had knee surgery on Tuesday.
I believe that.
I don't know if that was the Tuesday following
Mania
or not, but I'm sure it happened quite quickly.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
he needed work on his knee. He also needs work on his back.
He had knee surgery. He tore his, MCL.
Meniscus.
Yeah.
Meniscus.
A little while before WrestleMania, so his rehab, I suppose, is running after a little 3-year-old. That's his rehab. He's running after a kid now.
Well,
that's some rehab right there.
But I heard that he re-injured his knee during the Bloodline match.
Yeah, he did. As of this writing, there is no word on when Seth Rollins will return to WWE programming.
If it's
meniscus,
back at the Rumble.
Yeah.
If it's meniscus, if it's just as meniscus that is torn, I've had 3 meniscus surgeries, and you're down about 6 weeks.
Yeah, but
that's
if I was him, I'd take a little bit more time just to be a daddy.
You can get back up and get back in 4.
Those young years like this is priceless. After a certain age, those kids don't want you around anyways,
I'm dealing with a meniscus tear in my left right now. It's been hurting for months. Well, it's been hurting over a year.
With what Seth does in the ring, he's going to want to take more than just 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What he does is extremely physical, and it would be too easy for him to mess up that knee.
Plus, you want him back for the big pop moment, probably whatever, Rock Roman or something like that.
It's not going to happen for a while.
Yeah, they're going totally different direction with things right now.
The thing is, and I'm not sure if this is going to be announced yet, but you can bet I haven't seen anything on the rumor mill yet. But I found out watching that documentary about Roman, I've got it wrong. He's got it cute. That means that thing that there's no cure for what Roman's got.
Right.
Okay? He just gets put into remission, and then it comes back. Well,
Yeah.
I've been watching him closely, and I've noticed his, like skin tones and stuff like that. I think he's going to be out for a while getting some
Yeah.
treatments.
That's
And
what me and Jimmy always comment on too.
He's
Like,
also,
look what he looks
I
like.
think Roman had a relapse, and that's why the storyline's going the way it is right now.
I think also he's fixing to film a movie.
Yeah.
I saw
Right.
where he's got a
that
movie deal.
that would be easier on him because they can work more around his treatment schedule than wrestling could.
Right. And you ain't got to be on the road.
Because when you're filming a movie, it's usually at one or two locations, maybe.
According to his filmography, he's got a film coming out next year called The Pickup. I read that he was filming with some big. I want to say it was John Wick Reeves.
Keanu.
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Ben Reeves. Okay.
Yeah.
Ted. No, Bill. Which one was he? Bill or Ted?
Ted. He was Ted.
Yeah, he was Ted.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
Yeah, I had to think.
Lord, how his acting career went from, Bill and Ted to, The Matrix.
Neo.
Yeah, just.
Although I've never seen The Matrix, but yeah.
John Wick.
That one role to really set you apart from everybody else, and he found that in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a hell of an actor.
Versus somebody like Jim Carrey. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan. I love his comedy stuff, but he tried to do more serious roles. It's like it just don't work, man.
It didn't work for him.
Sometimes it
Like
doesn't.
him in The Majestic.
I guess I've seen that one.
He made the perfect Grinch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Riddler.
And the Mask. Oh, that was funny as hell.
The Mask was amazing. Cameron Diaz.
When they cast him, the old Batman.
Yeah.
Old Batman movies. When they cast him as Riddler, it's like there's nobody else you could have got.
That was amazing.
He did homage to the original TV dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He did.
I like that he paid that homage with a question mark suit and everything. I don't know if that was his or if was Tim Burton part of that film too.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
But whoever it was that did that whole Riddler outfit and stuff, that was just like the original 1960 something TV series type.
Yeah, well, that whole series, the old Batman stuff, they cast the correct people for the villains.
Yeah,
Tim Burton produced that one.
Yeah, Danny DeVito, it's Penguin.
Yep.
Yes, that was
You couldn't have gotten a more perfect person for Penguin either. And I don't know. There's arguments about Batman and Joker, but I still like Jack Nicholson.
Well, they took the series into a more serious type role. So it worked, both ways. You still have the old comic book versions, compared to the more realistic, I guess.
With Adam West, that was more geared towards kids.
Right.
Those are great. I liked them.
They also didn't have a whole lot of, back then in the 60s with the Adam West, Burt Ward thing, they didn't have a lot of, probably a big budget for costumes. You probably didn't have a lot of the materials that these people have to work with today to make like Batman's costume compared to then. It was all spandex for Adam West, pretty much. You know,
And they had that dumb comics book code where you couldn't do this or that, and they had to follow that too. So they could only throw so many punches a show and could not use a gun. And
plus, back then they only had so much material to work with anyway.
yeah,
and the ratings were a lot stricter for TV than they are now.
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta remember, George Carlin's words were true back then. There were
The 7 words.
you couldn't say on TV, television, or radio.
Well, it's, I know we're kind of getting off subject there, but those old sitcoms back in I Love Lucy, some of the older shows, they couldn't be in the same bed together.
Yeah.
They had separate beds, and I Dream of Jeannie couldn't show her belly button.
Right. There was a lot of things that couldn't be done back then.
Right.
Well, on Psycho was the first time that they actually showed a toilet on film, and there was people crying about that.
Right. Leave It to Beaver.
The worst thing that was ever said on television, the worst thing that was ever said on television was said on Leave It to Beaver.
Ward, I think you're a little hard on the Beaver last night.
Last night, yep.
I love that. And that's a true one, too.
I didn't see that one. All right, let's get back to we haven't even gotten through the second match yet.
We were talking about the Pride. We were talking about the third one. Well, technically the third one.
Technically third one. I was glad to see AOP to come back.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, seeing them thrown into WrestleMania so soon after they came back.
Could have been a squash match.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how easy those two got eliminated from the match so they could do all the deadly high spot stuff.
Yeah.
Since it's supposed to be these big, bad, invincible, tough.
And I thought it was great seeing B-Fab and Scarlett getting physical.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was a nice touch. Now,
She actually looked good.
Here's the thing about Paul Ellering. Corey Graves said that he had done meticulous research and discovered that Paul Ellering had never shown up at WrestleMania. But he did.
I was going to say.
Paul Ellering was actually on camera in the crowd. Well, not in the crowd, but was interviewed in front of the crowd at WrestleMania 8, right after Shawn Michaels' El Matador match.
Wow.
Gene Okerlund, back then, how they always had that little stage there behind the fans where they would do the interviews. Gene Okerlund was there, and he called out LOD. They made their return, and they brought Paul Ellering with him. And if somebody was just simply going down and looking at match results, you would not see Paul Ellering's name there.
Right.
No.
His name would be thrown somewhere in the description, saying after the first match, LOD was interviewed, joined by Paul Ellering. So he could have very easily have missed that if all he looked for was match results.
Yeah.
That match didn't go that long either.
No.
It was a pretty quick match as far as
8.5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, 8.5 minutes.
Threw together at the last minute anyways. It was kind of thrown together at the last minute.
Throw it together, get Dudley out there, get some table shots, let's go home.
And it's pretty cool how Street Profits kept doing all of these tributes to the Dudley Boys.
Yeah. I like the women going through the table. I did not expect that.
I think
that
whole
good
thing was a kind of like to give the Street Profits kind of like a passing of the torch from the Dudley Boys to them.
Possibly.
Because the other one was there, but he was watching from afar because the other Dudley was there. We saw him during that WrestleMania weekend,
Yeah.
sitting next to Bubba Ray.
Yeah, he was.
So,
I think he just had some kind of surgery, so I don't think he could have done
well, I'm
anything.
just saying it's kind of a way for them to pass that
Yeah,
table
absolutely.
type torch, like, hey, Diva, get the table. You know, the thing
I
they
loved
used
it when
to
they
do
did
that
that.
was that they made famous.
Yeah.
You know, because wrestlers have always been that way, you know, of kind of passing the torch from one great wrestler to another.
Well,
You
what I really liked was when they went through that countdown for the get the tables. It was the crowd that yelled for somebody to get the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Kind of fun how they did all the members of the tag team, like Bubba or Bobby, blah blah blah, all the way around.
Right. I mean, they made that thing so iconic.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool
It
to
was
see.
only fitting to do it that way, I guess.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to have a Philadelphia street fight since they are in Philadelphia,
Right.
Yeah.
just down the road from ECW arena.
Yeah,
5
There's
miles.
some kind of tribute to them, so that
Right.
makes sense.
it did.
But even with that, it just felt I don't know. It just felt like this whole match was kind of out of place.
Yeah. It should have been like almost a pre-show. It felt like to me, if at all, or just on a Raw or something, or a SmackDown or whatever show they're on.
I think it probably would have been better to have it done on the first night and possibly move that 6-pack tag match to the second night.
Okay, that would have made more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. LA Knight AJ Styles. What you guys think of that match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big AJ mark, so kind of sad, but it was a great match. It was a pretty good match.
Okay, so you're an AJ fan, but yet you're quoting LA.
Well, tell me an AJ quote. It was a phenomenal match. How's that?
I saw this as basically a passing of the torch from AJ to LA.
Okay.
AJ is from what I understand is in his last run, his last contract. He's done after this. That's what I've heard.
That might explain the anger. I mean, some of it's real. So you got to admit, some of that anger that he's throwing out there is real, like frustrating, real. You could tell. You know, I've watched AJ a long time. I've been a big fan of his, whether he's been a heel or not.
Same.
And, you know, I also like LA Knight too. But yeah, I agree. I think it might be the passing of the torch, and he is getting ready to retire while he's still able to. I mean, AJ is a smart man. He's young.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he hasn't had a lot of injuries that might affect him when he's a lot older. And it's like, I want to get out while I still can.
Remember AJ in WCW? Can't remember who he was with, but they wore flight suits out to the ring, and they were in that last, like, for the light heavyweight tag matches tournament, him and somebody else.
Oh, that must have been around the time when I stopped watching.
I didn't remember it, and then somebody else brought it up to me, and I had to go back and look, and I was like, God, I remember him now.
I thought it was a good match, and I think it was, like you said, he's getting ready to retire. Maybe he's getting ready to go over to AEW. You know, he kind of cut ties with the OC.
Yeah.
We're hoping that he comes back to them, or she does.
Yep.
The AJ is 46 years old. LA's 40. Or wait.
41.
41, yeah. So
not a lot of difference in age,
no. But
when you start getting that old, those
too.
few years matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
know?
especially in something physical like that.
And you never know. Maybe it's time for him to say, okay, if he was smart, invested his money, didn't waste it on drugs and other things like some of these guys have in the past, he's like, well, now it's time to go be a daddy.
Yeah.
Before his kid gets too old or go time to spend time with my wife and we're going to travel for a while.
Mhm.
One of those things, I mean, if you got a chance to retire early and spend time with the family, wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
So there's not AJ. Let's see. He's been with him for almost 8.5 years. He's accomplished a lot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's got quite the accomplishment. If you look at his entire record across all the wrestling promotions that he's done with, he's held championships just about everywhere.
Just about.
Yeah.
You
That I'm
you look at
looking
it,
at him.
I had forgotten that he had been a part of. Very, very short lived, but had a lot of problems. Was the XWF?
Yeah.
I just watched. I just watched their 3 episode collection last week, and they were bringing in some of the older guys, but they were also bringing in a lot of the newer guys and trying to do a mixture of that. And I think that they would have succeeded, but they didn't have the financial backing.
Yeah.
But I think in this case the right guy did win.
Yes.
It's LA's time. AJ had his time. He's accomplished so much.
7 titles, 8 titles in WWE.
Yeah. And he was also Undertaker's last match.
that's a big one.
Yes.
7 titles, and yeah, being Undertaker's last match, of course, is a whole nother.
So now is LA's time, and LA has connected with the crowd way better than AJ ever has, even though AJ has earned the crowd's respect many years ago. But LA Knight just has that connection that very few ever
Holy
get.
shit! Wow.
What's up?
I was just looking up AJ and I was going through all the different federations and titles he held.
Yeah, I did that too.
He was in NWA total. You got NWA Total Nonstop Action, NWA Wild Side, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Maximum Pro Wrestling, Midwest Pro Wrestling, International Wrestling Cartel, Independent Wrestling Association Midwest. This list goes on and on and on. And he was in Ring of Honor and held looks like 3 titles there. One of them was an inaugural title.
He's amazing. He's phenomenal.
Well, in WWO, in WWE, he's the 15th Grand Slam champion.
Yeah. And his debut match was for the world title.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's
Rumble.
He's accomplished quite a bit at his age in the wrestling industry.
Yes. Yeah.
He's set. I follow him on Instagram or something. He's always showing pictures of like the new video games he's getting, like the stand-up arcade ones. They're like retro gaming for arcades, like when we were kids. And he's always showing the new ones he's getting. I'm like, God, I'm jealous. We have like 6 or 7, but we have nothing like he's got.
Now, LA Knight was a world champion for Impact Wrestling at one time.
Eli Drake.
Yeah. LA Knight flows so much better than Eli Drake does.
Yep. For that particular gimmick,
I
yeah.
don't think I saw him as that.
And he was also the last person to be managed by Paul Bearer.
Yep.
Really? He was managed by Paul Bearer?
Very early in his career, yes.
Wow.
He was the last person managed by Paul Bearer.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
And he was in TNA too with I believe Drew Galloway as part of whatever faction.
That's right, they were, yeah.
Along with Micah, who is Tongaloa, so we could see him sometime maybe joining Bloodline. So we might have them all in WWE together again.
Yeah, I hate to break this party up, but I gotta leave. I gotta get ready for some class stuff. I got break test and all this afternoon.
We just barely got halfway through.
Yeah, no, I wanted to touch on the big one. Lord, it was the main event. Before I leave, the main event was just freaking awesome. The ending was just like nuts. And I saw a bunch of videos of like fan reactions when that whole ending sequence was going on for 8-10 minutes, and like people are just going nuts. We were going nuts.
Yeah.
When the bell went off, it was like, it doesn't get any bigger than this right here.
When the bell rang, the crowd the pitch got so much higher when they started screaming.
Yeah.
Not quite like that, but
but you can go on YouTube and you can pull up that match with people with recording off their cell phones and all. And man, it's like you're watching it all over again first time from different angles and stuff. Man, it was just so wild.
And Cody Rhodes was able to keep a trend going, something that I have noticed. And I was going to bring this up on the show that I missed. Every back-to-back Rumble winner have always lost the first WrestleMania and won the second WrestleMania. Every back-to-back winner of the Rumble.
Wow. How many is there? There hasn't been that many, has there? Winners?
Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels. Who else? Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, when he won with the first Royal Rumble he won, he lost to the Warrior. Then when he won the second one, he beat Sergeant Slaughter. Then when
that was during 91, wasn't it? 91, 92?
91, yeah. So when Shawn Michaels won 95 and 96, he lost to Diesel, and then he beat Bret Hart. And when Stone Cold won back-to-back, he lost to Bret Hart and beat Shawn Michaels.
Wow.
And now Cody Rhodes lost to Roman Reigns and then beat Roman Reigns.
Yep.
So there is a trend going on now for back-to-back winners.
Yeah.
Can't do too much, though.
I've said it before, I as much as I enjoy watching wrestling, I really, really enjoy looking at the behind the scenes and stuff that you don't see, right there on the camera.
Yeah.
You can see the emotional part in some of these fan videos when they were there of, Roman, back getting up the ramp and stuff like that with Heyman and all. So
there was one where they caught Randy Orton doing that.
Yeah, to Roman.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna cut out.
Okay.
And I'll get with you, Jeremy, and see when the next. I guess the next one, we'll discuss what you want to do as far as what we're going to cover.
We have a review request.
Okay.
I need to go back and check, but
All
I'll
right.
let you know.
That's
Donald,
something I would love to do. That Bray Wyatt. I watched it, man. It's a really good documentary.
Yes, it was.
that app was called the Upside app
Upside.
for the gas.
Okay.
If I just looked it up a minute ago. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt the wrestling talk, but
You're good. Well,
since
you're the wrestling talks. This one's been all over the place tonight. Like this morning.
Yeah, just UP.
We're not done with Bray Wyatt yet. The whole Bray Wyatt story is not over yet either.
No, they're bringing Alexa and the floss back.
That's gonna be a big. That's gonna be.
They are hinting at it. That's what you get the Flash. Have you seen the Flashes like on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown?
They did that after one of the WrestleMania. It might have been the first night. It was after the cameras went off. They did it in the arena.
Well, that's all teasing towards what's to come. And it's got to do with Uncle Howdy, I believe.
Yeah, they got those QR codes, and if you're quick enough to scan them, you can see videos and other web pages and have all kinds of weird
they did the same thing back when Taker was coming back on American Badass.
Yeah.
Right.
They did the same thing. He's coming. The little girls and the stuff, and then he's here.
And it sounds like that Eric Rowan is coming back too.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's gonna be Uncle Howdy. Eric Rowan is coming back. So is Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss.
And I heard that Joe Gacy will be joining them.
I can live with that.
And Dexter Loomis.
I can see that.
Well, I got to run, guys.
Okay, have a good one, Donald.
You too.
See you later, Donald.
See you.
Okay. The next match is the triple threat with the United States title.
That pissed me off. That was bullshit.
I did not like the ending. I expected it, but I was hoping KO would win, honestly.
Okay. With these two, I mean, they made the one mistake they shouldn't have made,
which is
Randy Orton and Kevin Owens were sitting there doing a good job of pounding the piss out of him and working together, right? Then they turned on each other. That was the mistake they made. They should have waited until they had him bloody on the ringside. And if they watched that jerk off in the past, they would have known that mascot on the outside of the ring was there because he was there.
I really thought that was KSI.
It's like, come on, Kevin and Randy. Are you guys really that brain dead?
Right.
I mean, I'm shouting at this. I was literally shouting at the screen at those two because of their screw up.
Did either one of you guys know that guy when he unmasked himself?
The guy that interfered in the little Prime outfit?
Yes.
No, I have no idea who he was, but all I knew is he was associated with Paul Logan.
Yeah.
Show Speed or some crap like that.
He's a 19-year-old YouTuber.
Yeah, and Paul Logan had exactly the same thing done last time he did something like that. The guy in the suit was there to help Logan.
But let's be fair, he's a heel, and it was basically a no DQ match. So
I know, but it's like, really, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, are you guys literally that stupid?
And I agree with you on that one. I'm like, no.
I mean, that part of the storyline just, you got to make the wrestlers a little smarter. I mean, they should have went outside that ring and kicked that guy's ass. They should have worked together and kicked Paul Logan's ass so that he couldn't finish the match and then go after each other.
I like that spot when right before they went after each other that they both acknowledged that it had to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you knew it was going to happen, but these take Logan out of the picture permanently first.
How did you like the inside?
I like that truck. I liked his truck a lot, but I have respect Logan Paul for the skills he actually brings as a celebrity to the ring instead of just being like a one-trick pony. But
no celebrity has ever been able to do what he's done.
Right.
You know, and they let him get away with the weapon, the legal weapon, you know, because he's got the steel in his knuckles. You know, that takes me back to who was it that had the steel in the forearm?
Iron Mike Shark.
No, it was like
Luger.
either Orndorff or Luger.
Orndorff. Luger had it. I think Orndorff had something like that too.
All right, so it was Luger. So every time he used that without padding, it would knock a wrestler's
Yeah, because he started using the forearm for his finisher. Yeah.
Well, I know that he has some steel in his hand.
Yep.
Yeah. Logan Paul does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then he uses the knucks too sometimes.
He hits the guy if he hits the guy just right, it knocks him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows this.
So the next stipulation should be wear a boxing glove or have some kind of padding on it for his match to show that he can. Just for a fun little stupid stipulation of some kind.
Right. I think they did it with Luger back in the day. They made him wear padding over it.
Hold on a second.
I was going to say the brass knuck things. I mean, that's Steven Regal 101 from back in NWA days.
I'm just saying, once he used them once, and then they make him use it again to win a match. I mean, come on. Again, it goes back to what I said. Are they really that brain dead? No, it's Logan Paul. He's gonna have the brass knucks. He used it once, it worked. He's gonna do it again because it worked.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me. It doesn't make any sense for him to need the brass knuckles because his hand is a brass
knuckle, right?
But isn't that kind of like Big Show and the weapon of mass destruction? I mean, shouldn't every punch be the weapon of mass destruction?
Technically, isn't he younger than both of them?
I believe so.
Yes.
And he's in very good shape, and he's very athletic, and he obviously he learned from somebody because he's pretty talented as a wrestler. Why do you need the brass knucks in the first place? Unless you're lacking somewhere else in confidence.
Because he's a bad guy. That's the only reason I can think of. I'm kind of curious now how old he is. He's 29.
I mean, to have the brass knucks and the guy on the outside to make sure I hold the title or whatever. Come on.
He was trained by Drew Gulak, Shane Helms, and Shawn Michaels.
Well, see, that explains a lot.
Yeah, so that explains the high flyingness.
Well, I like Shawn Michaels. I've been a big fan of Shawn Michaels back when he was with Marty Jannetty.
Yep, the Rockers. Yep.
So
his first match, his debut match in AWA, is what got me liking wrestling.
So
but he was Michael Hickenbottom in that match.
Hickenbottom.
His real name. That's his real name.
Michael Sean Hickenbottom.
Yep.
Well, what I really enjoyed was when Kevin Owens came down in that golf cart. Then when he came out, Kevin went back.
That was great. And Randy was kind of like,
that was a great moment.
It was. It was. They were riding down there knowing that they're going to have to fight each other.
that was my first thought when he hopped on there. I was like, these two are going to have to fight. And it's going to happen sooner than we think because this nice thing happened.
Still, that needs to be like a Slammy next year or something. Just that because that was something you didn't expect.
That was a great moment.
And that was something. It's not something that you would expect, but who better than Kevin to do that?
Right.
I like Kevin. Like I said, I was hoping Kevin won. Again, I'm the biggest Randy fan, been since he debuted. But I was thinking Kevin was going to win this one just because he's gotten screwed so many times.
I was hoping anybody.
And his Sammy thing, too.
I was hoping anybody but Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Paul Logan or whatever.
I can see Logan being the winner simply because he is the sponsor.
And business speaks now more again.
Yeah.
You're going to see that more and more probably with TKO.
I agree with you. I agree that Kevin did deserve it the most.
I think so. And with his Sammy spot too that he did before he came out.
Yeah.
I was hoping for that. Who was it? Eddie Guerrero and Benoit, or I was hoping for that kind of moment.
After seeing that, I thought maybe Kevin will win this thing. Yeah.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, Randy's had it before already.
Yeah.
Randy can get it again. Because that RKO we all know can come out of nowhere.
Yep. Truly. Even on his own son into a swimming pool.
And he's already done what I said he was going to do. I mean, he was going to do things his dad never dreamed of doing.
Right. And his son is training now, too.
He is so surpassed everybody's expectations, except probably his own.
Yeah.
Because you are your own worst critic.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
Not
sure
bad.
Randy might agree with that,
Yep.
But I like those two guys. I do like Kevin and I like Randy, but I didn't want to see him walk off with that title. I would have preferred Kevin.
It's like I said, it's what I saw, but I was hoping Kevin so much after that. I was hoping Randy going into it, but then when I saw that Kevin Sammy moment, I was like, I want Kevin to win it now.
At first, I was thinking that Kevin would not be the one to win it because I actually mistook it for the Intercontinental title. I was talking to somebody, I forget who it was. I was saying Kevin is not going to win this because Owen Hart had it, and Kevin was currently tied for combined days as Owen Hart did. He did not want to surpass that. That turned out that was actually for the Intercontinental title. So Kevin could have very easily have won the United States title. But I can pretty much guarantee you that Kevin will never win
The IC title?
Yeah.
I still think those two titles, need to be put in the women's division as well. They need the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title. They need a women's version of those two titles as well.
Well, they just announced the women's North American title for NXT.
And I do like what they did when they put the titles above the ring, and split the tag titles above the ring in that ladder match.
I told you that's what they were going to do.
Right, and I agreed with you. I said that would be perfect thing to do, and they did it. And then on the following Raw and SmackDown, they made them into two separate new titles. You got the World Tag Team Champion and WWE Tag Team Champions.
And Joe's favorite tag team is on SmackDown winning them.
Yeah, I like
They're going to lose their belts quick.
I think so.
especially after the way they really disrespected Triple H
Triple H. Yep.
on SmackDown the way they did. I think that management is going to make sure that they lose their titles.
I don't like Austin Theory.
I don't like him at all.
Yeah, but I really do like Grayson Waller.
Waller's really growing on me.
He could grow on me if he got rid of the whatever that is.
I like his win, and then he does a shoey.
Cocky little, I just don't like his attitude from the day he walked into wrestling.
Yeah, I get you.
Because he was one of those ones. Here's what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened, and this is like me doing that 70s moment when they're like doing like saying, okay, this is what really happened. Okay. Austin Theory comes up from NXT. He's in the closed office with Vince McMahon because that's who was running the show back then still. All right. And Vince McMahon says, I'll give you everything you want. All you got to do is kiss my ass. And he got down on his knees. Vince pulled the pants down and he kissed him right on the brown eye. I mean, how many times did we see Vince McMahon make a wrestler kiss his ass his bare ass in the middle of the ring?
And non-wrestlers too.
Yeah,
it was a club. Come on,
right.
It was an exclusive club.
But I'm telling you, the only reason he got those titles and stuff early on in his career is because Vince gave it to him.
Okay, so yeah.
And remember, Austin Theory was bragging about all of that and being Vince's little bitch.
Yep.
I'll be right back. I need a soda.
All right.
Absolutely. I had to grab one before we started. Well, Canada Dry.
But I really do like the design for the Friday night titles.
Those are nice. They're both pretty nice.
I'm on the fence with the Monday night ones.
They both look to me, and I like them both, but they look like something I've designed on the game a couple times. But I like them. I like them, though. I like them. So
somebody said that they look almost like pizzas.
I never thought about that. I'd have to go back and look at them again.
It's perfectly circular around.
Yep.
But I think they're trying to make all the titles look similar on both brands.
Yep.
Which I think will lead to Cody getting a new championship belt. Which
right.
He won anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Cody needs a new belt.
Yeah.
Cody needs a new belt. They gave Roman a new belt, or not Roman, Seth a new belt when he won his.
Can he get his white leather belt back, or is he just going to have the same black?
Yeah.
I mean, Seth's belt's a really nice looking belt. The one that Damien's carrying around now. That's a nice belt.
Night tag titles.
Now Cody needs one like that.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about the Monday night ones.
And then they need to update the women's titles too then and make them look really nice and fancy.
And that's actually the next match, the WWE Women's title, Io Sky and Bayley.
Great transition.
That was a great match.
Yeah, that was.
I'm glad that they stayed out of it as long as they did to have it a fair match.
Yeah.
It needed to be that way.
I did not expect that. I expected who the hell
I was
control to come down.
Right. I was expecting them to be ringside the whole time and interfering nonstop. But
and those other three girls come down, Jade and etc.
Right.
To come down and help Bayley.
Yeah, it was Jade,
Naomi,
Bianca Belair and Naomi.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
why my mind wants to block out those other two all the time, but it does.
But I'm glad that they had that Bailey didn't really burn as many bridges. I'm sure she's still got a lot to prove, but I'm glad somebody had her back when shit hit the fan. You know.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't like Bailey getting involved with that damage control in the first place. You know, I thought that was a mistake on her part.
Right.
But because I was like, you can't trust them, Bailey. They're going to turn on you. And look what happened. I was right. And,
especially once they added the two new members, I was like, done.
you know, I like Bailey when I get it because, you know, God, being that pure and that good at the beginning like she was with all them, what do you call them? Or whatever. You know, I mean, that's got to get a little annoying and a little like, you know, you got to need to change. You need to play the bad guy. You know, I get it, but
Ding dong.
that faction was a big mistake on her part.
Is that what Ding Dong Hello?
Yeah. Ding dong.
I mean,
Hello.
If Bailey should have created a faction, here's what she should have done. She should have gotten with Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and came out with the Four Horsewomen and brought them into the WWE because they've only been seen in NXT when all four of them women were in NXT together.
Yep.
Well, they tried to get it to where they would have 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. There was a very brief period of time where they were able to do that, but for whatever reason, they didn't.
Yeah, well, I think they need to bury their hatchets or whatever, or do whatever, and bring back. Well, they ain't going to be able to do it anymore. But
not with Ronda.
Here's because you got Sasha Banks is over in AEW, so it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but Sasha did not burn her bridge like Ronda did.
Yeah, Ronda. That's true. Oh, for the 4 horsewomen,
She's written in her book.
Oh, I get it, but say here's what they could do. You can't get Sasha Banks because she's somewhere else.
Tessa Blanchard.
Here's what you should do. Take the 3 that were out there that night. You've got Jade Cardell, Bianca Belair, and Naomi, and add one of the original 4 horsewomen with that, and then you got the 4, like Bailey, for example, and you got the new 4 horsewomen, maybe.
I think so, but I think with that grouping, and I hate being this controversial, I think they're trying to do the strong black woman thing with that group. I hate being that person, but I think that's what they're trying to do.
They might, but
that'd be a hell of a faction. I do agree with that.
When you think about it, you really can't get much stronger than those 3.
Right.
Because all 3 of them are very.
So now you add. See, you don't even have to add her in as, you know, obviously she's a wrestler, but, you know, put her in like a management because Bailey's got the brains.
Yep. Or you could do like Bailey, Charlotte, Becky, when whatever, and bring in Tessa Blanchard, and then you could really have kind of a 4 horsewomen thing.
I just read
the whole Tessa Blanchard thing, but I'm just saying.
I get it. I love it. I love that idea. I love that idea.
I know the locker room issues with Tessa and all that, but just as a fantasy booking.
Right. I get it. But, you know, then you got like, you know.
There's a report right now saying that TNA is talking about bringing Tessa Blanchard back.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she's cooler locker room stuff. I always liked her work ethic and style and everything. I just heard bad things about her backstage.
I don't know. I've just been watching for her to show up somewhere so that I can watch.
And her godfather is a Magnum TA. So.
Oh, he was great in his time.
Yeah, I knew you'd remember that name, Joe. I'm not sure if Jeremy.
Unfortunately, he got taken out way too early.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have read. I've never seen a match, but I have read about him that he was supposed to have been the NWA's answer to Hulk Hogan.
Oh, and he would have been too. He would have been bigger than Hogan, in my eyes. I mean, this guy had the looks and the muscles and
he felt like a person too. He wasn't like Hogan, bigger than life either.
I mean, he kind of looked like Alan Jackson on steroids.
There you go. That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's the best way I could describe what he looked like back then.
That's freaking awesome. I never would have thought of that description, but that's perfect.
It is.
You know, I've seen him now because Magnum is still alive, as far as I know.
Yeah,
because I watched Dark Side of the Ring. It's like something that's on a channel called Vice here in Wisconsin. Yep. And they did a special on that era back with the Four Horsemen and stuff. And there was times they were interviewing and talking to Magnum TA, and it's sad to see him today compared to.
Still alive. He's 64 years old.
Yeah, he's still alive, but he's still disabled too due to his injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying he's still alive.
The injury that took him out of wrestling.
What would have happened if Magnum TA had moved over to the WWF?
Hogan would have never been as big as he was.
No. I was trying to think.
Because if Magnum TA never got injured so that he could have continued wrestling, he would have been bigger than Hogan by far.
I think so. He was amazing.
He had the looks, I mean, this was no conceited cocksucker. Oops. This was no, I mean, after what I saw and heard and read about Hogan having creative control when he got over there, that was BS. That should have never happened. And you let somebody have that much power, you know.
Yeah. He was kind of like Hogan without the attitude, I think. I mean, without the
he was.
cartoon.
That's because he was a country boy.
Exactly.
He came from like Texas or something like that. He was like a good old boy. He had those manners and grew up the right way and was raised the right way. And Magnum loved meeting all those people. I mean, he took time out to spend with the crowd as he, before he left.
Okay. I lied. Tessa Blanchard is his stepdaughter, not godmother, whatever, but yeah.
he named himself Magnum TA based on his slight resemblance to actor Tom Selleck.
Right.
Yep. And that mustache.
Yeah, his name's like really like the TA stands for his real name. Part of his real name, isn't it Terry Allen or something?
Terry Allen. Yep.
Yeah.
And Magnum's like that handsome guy.
That's what the TA stands for. It's his real name, Terry Allen. But because they said you look a lot like Magnum, Tom Selleck. Yep. Playing Magnum PI. So they're like, oh yeah, Magnum TA.
And ironic. Oh well, I guess he was in a Porsche when he wrecked. I was going to say, ironically, he was in a sports car too when he wrecked, like Magnum TA drove. But
in October 1986, which is right at the height of Hogan's run.
Yeah, see, he could have. Yeah, if he would have came over, I agree with Joe totally. He would have, and probably could have. They're pretty much minus the machine that WWF was becoming at the time.
Think about this. Also, all right, you got a guy built like Andre the Giant, and the persona of Andre the Giant, and you got a choice. Here's your choice: do you let Hulk Hogan slam you, or do you let Magnum TA slam you? Now, if I was Andre back then, knowing what I do know about Andre, I'd I like that man better, you know. And Hogan probably would have never been the first one to slam him, you know, because that was all up to Andre.
Yep.
Whether or not to let Hogan slam him.
Yep.
Because
and ironically enough, Andre the Giant
help.
suggested his name.
You know.
Yeah. I think that was money. That was money issues again.
You know, if you know, he didn't want you to slam him, he didn't have to. Andre had to help Hogan in order for that slam to take place the way it did.
And that wasn't even a good looking slam.
And that was one of those things that pole vaulted Hogan's career.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you take that and you put it now, you got Magnum over there and you got Magnum and Hogan, and you're going, okay, which one's gonna slam Andre to both, you know, to get his career on the, you know, I would have, if I was Andre, I'd have picked Magnum.
Yeah. If given the choice, yeah.
Because Magnum wouldn't have let all that fame and fortune and everything go to his head like Hogan did. You know.
Yeah, you never know.
That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. You know, I mean, considering, you know, the way I've never met him personally, but I know a lot about Magnum TA because I've watched him a lot when he had his wrestling career.
Now, what Donald here is saying, now adding a fourth for the strong black women, he was mentioning Nia Jax. Nia, she's not black.
No, she's Samoan.
Technically,
her storyline's going to end up with the bloodline eventually.
I think so too.
You know,
I think
that would be like that would be like having her as, you know, part of the Four Horsewomen being the enforcer. You know, she'd be like the enforcer of the Four Horsewomen. You know,
she would.
Jax would be. All right, I get that. That makes good sense. But her storyline is going to end or be part of the bloodline because she is part of that dynasty.
That Samoan dynasty. I'm waiting for Lance to debut with all that. That's who I was hoping it would be on.
You know,
whenever they attack. What's his name?
Roman's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
And then now they're going to start building on. If you notice, they're starting to build on Solo. Okay, being it looks like he's going to become the new head of the bloodline, and that's going to make room for the new wild Samoans because you still have yet to see Jacob show up.
Now,
and he's been signed to the WWE. You know, and there is so there's more to come with that Samoan thing. There's more, a lot younger of a Samoan dynasty is going to take over the bloodline.
That's what we need.
By that, because they had announced like 2 weeks before WrestleMania that Jacob had signed with them. Nothing about Tama.
Nope. That's why they're keeping it secret.
Yeah,
it's a magic
trick. There's more that's
coming.
Just watch. It's going to get big again, but and eventually the Usos are going to end up together again.
Yes, it's leading to where it's going to end up being Solo, Rock, Tama, and Jacob versus Roman, Jay, Jimmy,
Yeah.
and Sammy at Survivor Series.
Well, yeah, just wait. There might be a little bit more to it than that. Just there's more to come. There's a lot more of this Samoan dynasty that's moving up the ladder that's not here yet. There hasn't been a lot of talk about them yet. And the thing is, that's going to be dubbed, and it's going to be dubbed like the Samoan dynasty civil war.
Yeah.
There's a Thomas tag team partner still in New Japan right now, working through the last of his contract. When they were GOD, Gorillas of Destiny. I don't know if you know them at all, but Bullet Club, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, once that gets done, there's another possible member.
So you got this Samoan dynasty is huge.
Yeah.
You know, and that during that event, because we didn't see it at WrestleMania, like I was hoping we'd see it. Okay. But I'm glad it played out the way it did. I really am. But I think when they do this, because it's got to come to that, the way it's going, it's looking that way. And the way Paul Heyman's like scared and torn, and the way he's like kind of overacting the situation, it seems like, but you're going to have the whole royal family watching live right there ringside. And that will be cool as hell.
I was kind of hoping for some of that on WrestleMania.
Oh,
at least a few, not all of them, but just a couple of them.
Yeah.
Well, I was expecting Jacob to debut at WrestleMania. I was hoping that he would be the one to cost Cody the match.
Yeah.
No, Cody was going to win that match no matter what.
Well, once he and Seth lost the match on night one, I just knew Cody was going to win because
that's booking 101 right there.
The first night was going to lose the second night, and I wanted to see.
I'm glad that the what do they call it? The rules.
Bloodline rules.
Yeah, bloodline rules. Here, I'm getting a brain bubble.
Okay.
I'm glad that didn't play out from the very beginning either.
Yeah, I wanted Roman to win. I wanted him to keep the reign going.
No fun.
That said, with Cody winning, he had the best celebration at the end.
Yep.
Everybody coming into the ring, family coming into the ring, Brody Lee's son coming into the ring, little Harper. And then Triple H, Bruce Pritchard coming to the ring.
Brother love.
Yeah. So
I love you.
So that right there literally showed you the birth of the new era, where it was Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. Now it is Triple H and Cody Rhodes. Brad was asking me, how long do I see Cody holding on to the title? I'm giving him a year and a half.
That sounds fair.
Because I don't see him losing that title at all for at least a year. Because if they want to get this new era started the right way, Cody has to hold on to it for a while.
Yeah, I think that's about the right time, because I think that's about the time that Roman's going to come back and demand a rematch.
And if you think about it business-wise, SmackDown is jumping to Monday nights on USA. So when Raw jumps to Netflix. So SmackDown is going to go to Monday nights on USA is what I've been hearing. So since he's champion of SmackDown, he'll be on Monday night still.
We don't know what's happened. They got the draft coming yet. Don't forget about the draft.
No.
But but they got Damien is the champion. I mean, they could flip him, but either way,
That's what they'll end up doing. Cody will stay on Raw, and all of
so
Judgment Day will go to Fridays.
Well, who
so
knows?
Cody, yeah,
You know, they should just if they. I don't agree with their draft bullshit sometimes, but they should just leave the champions where they are. You
yeah,
know, they do that. They did that with like the tag team champions or champions in the past, and it's like, okay, guys, now you got to come and trade your titles.
yeah.
You know, because your
And that's
title
what they,
belongs on SmackDown, your title belongs on Raw, so you got to switch them, and you know, it's like just leave the champions where they are. Don't include them in part of the draft.
Well, I see the tag champions staying where they're at. I see the Intercontinental and United States champions staying where they're at, but they're going to flip the world champions.
I could see that. I just hope whatever happens with the draft and a whole different show we could get into with that, but they abide by it. None of this. Oh, I don't want to say Cody. Kevin Owens is on SmackDown. Oh, but tonight it's going to be on Raw. Oh, now he's back on SmackDown, and
So you're
keep the
thinking
lines
Cody,
drawn.
you think they're going to move Cody to Raw
Yes.
and
Well,
Damien over to SmackDown? That would be the best thing they could do, though, too, because Damien can fill Roman's boots as that heel on SmackDown that's been leading SmackDown for so long, and Cody's so loved. Yeah, he'd be able to fill Seth's boots on Raw. That would
Easily.
work perfectly. That's the way they need to do it.
Yep.
You know, because the people that are like SmackDown loyalists or whatever, if you want to call them that, because I'm sure people just watch one or the other because they've got favorite wrestlers. There are people like that. But, if you're used to having that type of champion over there and you've got the chance to put one back over there,
do it.
Wouldn't you do it? It's good for business, right?
Do it. It makes the money. Yeah.
No matter whether Damien's part of the Judgment Day or not, he makes a better heel than a good guy.
Yeah. I always liked him way back in Ring of Honor days, so I've always liked his work.
I mean, I like him. He's a great wrestler and all, but he makes a better bad guy than a good guy.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I was going with it.
So
most of them do.
The big guys.
But they're making a lot of money off the Judgment Day, so I don't see a whole lot of that ending too soon either.
Yeah.
Now, if they do switch, well, no, because they're going to want to keep all the WWE titles together and all the world titles together.
Well, yeah, maybe not. Maybe that's why they named them the way they named them. So it doesn't matter what brand you're on.
So the WWE champion will be on Raw, and then the WWE, and then the World Tag Team Champions on Raw. While it's just gonna.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's a new generation.
Yeah,
it's not going to follow. It might not follow any patterns that's been in the past.
Now, I do want to share this.
Uh-oh.
No, not that.
We don't want to see that, Jeremy.
But I mean, I think it was. I also think it was great that they made a unique spot for the Undertaker to come out too, so that he could be part of WrestleMania the way he was.
Look at this. Just look at the color scheme. Does this not give you like a Captain America feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see him playing that role.
Captain America don't got a big tattoo right here, but
I don't know. It's just.
But you know what you're saying. I like that color scheme. I do like that.
Hollywood can cover up the tattoo.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is, I like Cody. I've always liked Cody. I thought he got the short end of the stick at the beginning. Oh, you're Gold Dust's brother. Well, you're going to be Stardust. I mean, if you've ever read anything about Cody in his interviews, he hates that. He hated Stardust, and he hated them making fun of his speech impediment. You
Oh
know,
yeah, that's a definite.
he
I
tries
understand
so
that.
hard. He tries so hard, and that was such a what do you call that uh, thing that really knocked his confidence way down there a lot because they kept screwing with him about that stuttering or that slurring of his speech.
Well,
And
speech impediment, the way that I see it, is that his tongue is bigger than what his mouth can.
well, whatever it is, it's like
I have
felt
that same impediment.
I
So.
felt bad for him, but I've always liked the Rhodes family. See, Dustin embraced the Gold Dust thing. Didn't mean that Cody had embraced Stardust, and this whole new gimmick of Cody when he left and went over to AEW and did what he did there, and then he came back. I think that was the best thing he ever did. I love the way he reinvented himself.
It was the only thing he could do to get away from that.
But still, in a way, he still did it in such a way that he's honoring his dad, though.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing to this whole story of him. Is that he's on a quest to honor his dad the way his dad should have been honored in the first place. And his dad was known, if anybody knows Dusty, his dad was known as the American Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got the spawn of the American Dream, the American Nightmare.
Now, what about the incredibly bad idea that I had? You guys remember that?
What was that?
It was the one where if Cody were to have a midlife crisis.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea. I saw it got a lot of hate on the posts on the internet, on Facebook, but I liked it. And I'm sorry if you don't remember, Joe. Go ahead and explain it.
I commented on that. I just busted out laughing. Yeah, it's a troll post. It is. But who better to be able to pull something like that off?
Do you remember what it was, Joe? I'm sorry, I interrupted. Do you remember what it was?
I didn't see it, so.
Oh, go ahead and explain to him, Jeremy.
Send it to you in the chat, Joe.
Oh, well, sometimes I don't always read things.
So Cody, he is still technically recognized as WWE champion and Universal champion. They have not merged those titles yet.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Say something happens to Cody. He has
midlife crisis. Defended one is Stardust. I remember this now. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, WWE champion on Monday Night Raw, and then on SmackDown he is Stardust as Universal champion.
But like I said, that ain't gonna happen because part of his contract was that he was never gonna be Stardust ever again. That was part of his agreement to come back.
Yeah, but it would be great. Fantasy booking wise, again, that'd be fun as hell.
Yeah. There is such a thing as, you gotta, in a way, yeah, that would might actually make him have kind of a split personality considering, considering he's one of the ones that took a title after he won it, and didn't he throw it in the river? If I remember right. During his first run on WWE.
I don't remember that. I remember Steve Austin doing that.
Somebody
Now,
did. I'm trying to remember.
Too. I don't remember Cody. But I just thought that would have been a unique thing because here he is and he's known for having been Stardust, and every now and then he'll do that little cartwheel thing that he did as Stardust.
Yeah.
But I just think that it'd be a perfect opportunity for him to be able to do that, holding on to both titles, knowing that he's known as having been Stardust.
Well, how about this? I just saw this while I was trying to find something out about Cody. Remember the Legacy and Manu, Alpha Jr.? Another bloodline.
Alpha Jr. was actually a part of Legacy.
I know, that's what I was saying. So that could be a nice tie-in right there.
Yeah.
And he's still wrestling. He's owns a own promotion in Pennsylvania, it says.
It wasn't the title. It was a Money in the Bank contract case that he threw in the Gulf. He threw it in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
Throws Damian Sandow's Money in the Bank contract into the Gulf of Mexico.
Rhodes.
Right.
Oh, no. The Rhodes Scholars.
So with that, with the ending of WrestleMania 40, we have seen literally the birth of a brand new organization, if you will.
Yeah, there is. They called it, what was it, the Triple H era or something?
I'll acknowledge Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes has trademarked the Renaissance era.
Yeah.
Well,
he's a great businessman.
I could see him holding the belt. Well, for them, you got to realize it's all about the mighty dollar, the money.
Yeah.
Right.
So I see
WrestleMania in that one weekend. In that one weekend, Cody broke a sales record at the merchandise stands.
Right.
His merch sold more than anybody else's in that weekend, and it broke a record.
What do you want to bet that most of that probably happened after he won the title?
Probably, but either way, I'm just saying,
he did it.
Why did they have two members of the former Shield, okay, headlining Monday Night Raw and SmackDown for so long? Because they made the most money in merchandise every single week. They drew in the crowds every single week.
And speaking of that, tell me you did not think that Jon Moxley was coming in when they...
I did.
Oh, I did. I was waiting, and I'm like, did they really do it? Did they really do it?
I know. I hadn't seen anything on the internet about Moxley for like months, really, minus some small AEW stuff. So I was like, ooh. And then I was kind of disappointed, actually, but it made a lot of sense storyline wise.
But
and he must the chair and blah blah blah.
And according to the reports,
we're wondering about that because if you notice, they were being very careful with what they were saying.
Yeah.
Well, according to the reports afterwards, there was no contact with Moxley whatsoever about possibly showing up.
Now they probably won't while he's still in AEW.
And so I think that sucks. I think they should allow those things to happen because if they would have contacted Moxley, let's say Triple H, because everybody's got bad vibes. It sounds like her stories about Vince McMahon, whether it be part of the court thing or just business, because that's a good reason why Moxley and his wife are both in the AEW. You know, is all of because of Vince McMahon. So say Triple H came to him and say, "Hey, WrestleMania, man, we're doing this little kind of tribute to the Shield thing. Can you come and be a part of it? You know, we'll pay all your expenses plus, you know." I mean, do you think John Moxley would have turned that down if he would have been asked?
If he could have got away with it, I think he would have done it.
Oh yeah, I'm saying if there were no repercussions from AEW and he was able to do it and he was going to get paid handsomely for it, you think he'd do it? Probably.
It would have just made it all that much better.
That would have blown the roof off the fucking place.
It would
Or have Moxley come one way and then you have Seth coming through the other.
Because, and that happened during the match with Roman Reigns, who Seth Rollins, you know, stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
That fateful night that the Shield disbanded.
Which was the callback when he, of course, hit Seth with the chair.
Yep.
Which caused him to lose because he didn't hit Cody with it. So,
but that moment had me on the edge of my seat because I knew exactly what it was, and it's like, are you fucking shitting me?
I heard that and I was like, what the fuck? Pardon my language.
Are they coming? And they're looking and it's like, you guys are looking in the wrong places. They're going to be coming down from the audience somewhere, you know, and it's like, man, and it's only Seth Rollins, and it's like, shit.
I know.
I know. It was still cool seeing him dressed like that.
Yeah, it was cool. He dressed in all the Shield gear, but still, it was a little.
This barely fits me now. Can we loosen this a couple?
It was
in pretty good shape, all kidding aside.
That was such a moment because Ed. The roof blew up anyway, even with
right, but it would have blown up much bigger than that if Ambrose was part of it, you know, for that short moment.
Well, what they could have done if they wanted a second Shield member, they could have had Kurt Angle come in.
I was gonna say Kurt. I forgot about him, but he was a member for a couple
for
shows.
One
show. There you go. Even had the gear on, if I remember right.
He did. He had the gear on. He had the biggest grin on his face.
I would too. I would have too, man. They were like my favorite faction.
Yeah, I would love if they turn it. I mean, it'd almost be impossible because of the, you know, not so much because of Seth or Dean Ambrose being where he is, because, you know, things don't always last. Dean Ambrose could someday float back over, but the way they've taken Roman's character, it would be hard to have him be reunited with the Shield.
I think eventually he will come back. There's, first of all, with McMahon being gone, a lot of people are gone because of him.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of them left because of the way McMahon was treating it. Not just it's not because just of the sex scandal, but because of, it goes back to, you know, that philosophy is you got to wrestle injured. The show must go on, no matter what. And then the harassments that McMahon gave these wrestlers, or the ultimatums that they got if they didn't do something, then because it was against their morals or religion or something, and he wanted them to do it. I mean, do you know how many times? And then you talk about the screw jobs that happened, like the Montreal screw job, where, you know, that caused a big feud between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, you know, for many years.
I'm picturing this in my head. Totally. When Roman comes back, he slides in the ring, in Solo's face, all blah, blah. All the new bloodlines standing there, whoever they are, Solo, Tama, blah, blah. 5 of them. And Solo's like, you're outnumbered, bro. Here come the Usos. He's like, you still need 2 more. Cue Shield music. Moxley and Seth.
No, that would be cool as hell.
Next year, War Games match. Bang. Right there.
That would be something else to watch. That would keep you on the edge of your seats right there.
Could you imagine that? Just turn that music again. I'm getting bumps actually talking about it, and I never do that. But
yeah, they had the coolest intro. I loved it.
They did.
Whoever came up with that idea, whoever was the genius behind that, they didn't fight hard enough to keep the Shield together long enough.
Right.
Because they had the coolest entrance and that music, that entrance, all that stuff, that it was just so
alternatively, Roman's getting beat down by Solo and 2 members. Boom, Shield music, and they're just like, what the hell? Because they've already taken out Jay and Jimmy, so they're like, we got this. We're going to beat him up.
Working on this whole bloodline thing, and that's Sami Zayn.
And Sammy, yeah, of course, Sammy. But I wanted to throw Shield in there somehow, and I don't think Sammy's Shield. So,
well, right now,
and he's doing his IC thing right now.
Sammy's got the IC belt, and I think he needs to hold that for a while. Sammy deserved that title.
SummerSlam.
He worked so hard for that title and went through so much shit. He deserves it.
Yes.
Okay. They need to let him hold on to that for a while.
Yep. I liked his match with Gable on Monday, jumping off WrestleMania a little bit.
Yeah, after having beaten Gunther, it would completely ruin that status if he were to lose it within a month or two.
Yeah. But that little storyline, Chris, having the Shield part of that bloodline storyline, that would be the only way they could actually convincingly, make Roman part of the Shield again.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what I was trying to build to. And of course, it would have to be whenever, well, maybe not if they could open the door and get him there for a night or two, but after his contract runs out, which is
you never know.
Sometime.
I mean, this bloodline storyline, they're going to milk it for all it's worth. And right now, Triple H,
biggest storyline going today. I don't care.
Got nothing but dollar signs in his sights with it, and he's letting Paul Heyman run wild with it. So
I was talking to somebody, and I don't even remember if it was me that came.
Paul Heyman's a genius.
Another person came up with the thought, but what if Cody Rhodes took over the bloodline and he led the bloodline?
Interesting. I have heard that. I don't know who from. I know we weren't talking about it, but
yeah, just think about it. Cody's got the look. He's got the bleached blonde hair. He wears the suit all the time. That's mafia style right there.
Okay.
So why couldn't he lead the bloodline?
So heel Cody then?
No.
There is no way he is going to be able to sustain himself as a face for a very long time. People are going to get tired of him.
Yeah, but I see eventually, because like you said, I see a few things happening, with Cody's storyline. Cody, back in the AEW days, he had a small faction there. Okay. And I can't remember what it was called, but it had something to do with family. Okay, like Dustin and so on, his wife. Okay.
I will look it up.
It was like a 3-person, maybe 4-person faction, but it included his wife, Brandy.
Yeah.
Okay. And thing is, I could see that happening over in WWE, especially if his brother returns. His brother's got a whole new look that fits that faction, because his brother's kept that kind of look.
The Elite.
No,
No, I
they're
think it had.
another thing.
I think it was like a night,
Nightmare Factory or something like that.
something like that. Anyway, it was like him and his brother.
School.
Yeah, but he used like them and some members, and but anyway, I know what he's saying.
Anyway, I wasn't watching. I haven't been watching AEW as much as I watched this, but back in the day, it was him, Brandy, somebody that he took under his wings, and Dustin. And Dustin had the half face paint on. He wasn't even Gold Dust anymore. All right. And he had the red face paint where it was like a skull, a red skull on half of his face.
Yeah.
And
Doing that.
and he's been doing that character pretty much ever since instead of Gold Dust. So I think when he returns, that character is going to get with the American Nightmare, and all hell's going to break loose.
Okay.
Literally, like, Nightmare Hell. It's going to
Yep.
break
I
loose.
get what you're saying. Yeah, I like that. Well, I'm waiting to see crowd reaction once the feel good dies down from
And
him.
if you think about that, you could add a couple other younger members, like say Darby Allin, and maybe Sting managing the whole bunch.
Right.
Here it is, the Nightmare Family.
Yeah,
There you go. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. If he does anything, I think that faction's going to make its kind of return in WWE.
And his dog Pharaoh too. Don't forget him.
His dog, you mean
Yeah, his
Cody's
dog.
dog?
Yeah, Cody's dog.
That's a Siberian Husky. I looked it up. I
Pharaoh.
saw that dog and I had to look that sucker up, and it's like, yep, it's a purebred Siberian Husky. And I'm like, wow.
It's a beautiful animal.
Yep, I got one that looks just like it.
Nice. I got one of my dogs is half wolf, half husky.
Oh, I've raised one like that.
She's black. Though,
Actually, it wasn't half wolf, it was half wolf, half German Shepherd, and it was pure white. And thing pulled. It was chained to a doghouse that it took like 6 full-grown men at the time to lift off the back of my dad's pickup truck. That dog was attached to that thing, and it wasn't, the doghouse wasn't anchored, and I swear that doghouse had to probably weigh 4, 5, maybe 600 pounds, and that dog would drag it was like it was nothing.
Dogs are amazingly strong, even when you look at them. They're like, "Oh, it's cute," but it pulls my fucking truck. I mean,
I got to sit with a pure wolf once.
Oh wow!
And its paw was like bigger than my hand, all spread out. And yeah, it was at the Dane County Humane Society. It was taken from a drug house or something, and they were waiting for somebody to arrive that was going to go with it to transport it to a preserve, or where they kind of live in their own natural habitat, and it was all for wolves out in California somewheres.
Oh, okay.
So instead of putting it down, they found it a home, but they were waiting for transport.
Nice.
So I got a chance to sit in the cage with it and pet it.
Cool.
Only because I knew some people that worked there.
Nice. So I saw Cody's first defense is against AJ Styles.
It is. So
that's gonna be a hell of a match.
That'll be a quote banger, hopefully.
Yeah. And stealing some words from good old JR, that's going to be a slobber knocker.
Wasn't Cody a member of the Bullet Club at one time?
Yes. Yeah, he went to New Japan. Yeah.
So
they are very evenly matched, so it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
But I can say with confidence, obviously Cody's walking out champion.
Yes. Like I said, I don't see Cody losing the title until SummerSlam 22.
Yeah, well, like we were talking earlier, we were also saying that AJ might be on his way out, and in order to, in some ways, maybe, he's kind of like doing this in order to kind of not just pass the buck, but it gives people, like, if he loses some of these matches to some of these people, it gives them credibility.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, if this guy, could beat AJ Styles here, it's going to be one hell of a notch on his belt type thing,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's doing his part until his contract runs out.
Right.
Like I'm not going to go after titles that much. I don't want them, but I'll be here to make others look good.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a hell of a first feud match for Cody.
And maybe that being said, that might also explain why he said, okay, I'm not going to be part of the OC anymore.
Could be. Could be. I just saw that. Yeah.
So we have
anything's possible.
We have Cody Rhodes defending against AJ Styles, and you also have Damian Priest against Jey Uso.
Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Damian Priest wins. I'm not impressed too much with Jay as singles right now. That whole WrestleMania match killed it for me, and knocking down a few notches for me.
I'd like to see Jay win, and I think it'll be like one of those wins, and he'll have it for a couple of weeks just so that he can put it on his resume, and he'll lose it back to Damian in a rematch.
That'd be cool.
And then that sets up the thing for, now that he's won a title, now it sets it up for him getting back together with his brother. Now that he gets it out of his system, he's got a singles title on his resume. Now he goes back and gets with his brother and gets back to doing what they do best and start locking things down again.
I can see that happening that way.
I'd like to see them come back as not just the Usos, but the Usos of the old, where it's like, where they did the penitentiary thing, welcome to the Uso penitentiary, and put things on lockdown. Because I think that's when the Usos, the brothers, were at their best. We're right then during that.
You don't want to see him coming out doing the haka and all the traditional dancing and
doing that. Yeah, but they were on the same page all the time.
I agree. I like the Uso penitentiary.
There was no jealousy there between those two. There was no Roman at the time. They were at their best, and they were winning. They put that tag team division on notice when they came out and started doing that Uso penitentiary thing.
Yep. That hell of a match with New Day.
That's when the Usos were the best, and they earned so much respect from all the tag teams back then. I mean, look how many times the Usos and the New Days were backstage, talking, normal, like they were best friends, and moments later they're in the rings fighting their asses out over a title.
Absolutely.
I mean, they had respect from everybody then. They were on the top of the world.
I think now that they finally did have their WrestleMania match, they will get together. They just wanted to be able to say they fought each other at WrestleMania.
Right. But I also think that they're going to give Jay that title just for a short time, so it's on his resume, because he's been wanting one for so long.
Well,
sorry.
In retrospect, he has earned it.
Right. And I mean, he was the workhorse for the bloodline, when the bloodline started because Jimmy was out for so long.
Yeah.
And that's where he earned that main event J. You know, I think it's time, you know, to give credit where credit's due and let him hold the belt, even if it's just for a couple of weeks or until the next pay-per-view, so that, you know, give it back to Damien. You
I
know,
can
because
see that.
Damien's going to be the one to be able to carry it for a while. But
And has also won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
so, I mean, it's only fitting that they need to do that.
Yeah.
But they still have to finish this bloodline story, and Jimmy and Jay are going to have to be part of that because I think it's going to end up finishing with a civil war, and it's going to be The Rock leading one side and Roman leading the other side.
Yep. It's funny how without doing a thing, everybody is chanting for Roman now.
That was funny.
Yeah.
We want Roman.
But see, that's how it's going to work, and that's how they're going to change Roman from a bad guy back to a good guy again, too.
And also, and this is what I was really hoping that he would not turn face during this title reign. Now Roman is the longest
Heel.
WWE champion.
Right.
Was superstar Billy Graham. And people are always saying, but CM Punk was, and all the others, like Randy Savage. Here's the thing.
Those guys walked the thin line, though.
Well, the thing is, all of those guys, they changed. They turned either heel
Right.
or face to heel during that long reign.
Or some of them had that, like Jake the Snake thing, where they were like, or you know, where they were walked the thin line. They weren't a bad guy and they weren't a face. They were both, depending on the situation. You know, they could be either. There was a couple of but yeah, Roman was a solid heel the entire time.
Yes.
Of that reign, and that was the way to do it. To take off, I don't know what it is, but you don't hear much about them when they talk about Billy Graham, but there are some of those wrestlers they don't like to talk about. Look how long it took them to acknowledge China.
Yeah.
And still they didn't acknowledge her properly because she was the only woman to hold that Intercontinental title. And she beat a man for it.
Well,
I mean, but I'm just saying, they did, and just because of the bullshit that went on in the McMahon family, we don't want that black, thing on our black spots on our family name. We're not going to acknowledge her anymore. Because she had a fling with Triple H for a while before Stephanie. So what? That just proves that Triple H was fucking human. I mean, do you really? I mean, people out there, do you really care? I mean, China deserved a lot more than she got. WWE ruined her life, by doing what they did, kind of blackballing her.
People's lives.
I mean, the whole thing that happened to her was kind of sad. So, but it's just now that it's a new era, I'm hoping that things get straightened out right, and I think it will, because I've always thought that these people in management should actually have been wrestlers beforehand, and it might be a better place to watch.
Well, when you think about it, the management people in the past were wrestlers. You had Pat Patterson, you had Black Tony.
Yeah.
They were all wrestlers.
Yeah, but they were also fossils too. I hate to say it, but they weren't like thinking. They were like the ones that would always wrestle hurt and stuff all the time. They didn't care. They were getting paid low bucks. They didn't move forward enough with the times. They weren't forward thinkers.
They were more or less going with the times, but also sticking to what Vince wanted.
And sticking to what works,
Yeah.
not taking risks. I mean, they were playing it safe. I think Triple H and The Rock are going to take some risks and take some chances, and we're going to see some amazing things. That's what I'm hoping.
Something that I saw Nick Khan say was he was saying that the big five would be all in North America, and the other 7 pay-per-views would be global.
Yeah.
No.
We're both like, no, yuck.
Well, those don't matter because I could never make them to them live anyways. It just means I have to adjust my schedule because, if something's going on over there, it might be like I have to watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning here to watch it live.
The
I,
Australia one, yes.
huh?
The Australia one, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that. And speaking of Australia, uh, did you all see Monday night with, wasn't it Monday night where Rhea Ripley came out and forfeited the title?
Yeah.
Or relinquished the title. That's a better term. Relinquished the title. I think that was a very sad moment to watch. I really felt for her for the first time, I think. I liked her. I thought she was a great champion. She did it like she said, did it her way.
I wondered how long they were planning on leaving the belt on her.
I don't know, but she had some great matches for that belt.
Yeah.
And I have to give her props because a lot of those times she did come out alone. She didn't always have help during those championship matches when it came to her belt. I mean, there was a few times, yes, but there was sometimes she didn't have help or ask for it. So I don't know. I still think she's pregnant. I think it was a false injury.
Well, guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Usually that gets leaked out somehow.
It will get leaked out eventually, I'm sure. But I'm just saying that's what the rumor mill was saying, and that makes more sense because I watched that video a couple of times where supposedly she got injured by Liv Morgan, right? And yeah, but it's like I've seen her take a lot worse. Rhea Ripley take a lot worse and walk away.
Yeah, but
I mean, she's a lot tougher than that.
quick
You
things.
know, I'm just saying it. I've been wrong in the past, but
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody knew Becky Lynch was pregnant right away. She was out with an injury at first, and then all of a sudden it came out she was pregnant. And then what was the other one? There was another one that ended up out, and they had her out on an injury, and she ended up pregnant. They've done that with a couple of women in the past. And
Bliss did. She was out for an injury, and then she did get pregnant.
And then good old Lacey Evans wrote it right into the storyline with Ric Flair.
Oh man, that was bad.
But that was a legit pregnancy too. But
it was that was pretty bad.
some of some of the stuff that they come up with, and then it don't make sense. But then I love some of the stuff they do that just for comic event, comic effect. They've done that for every generation. You've had a wrestler that's just there for comic effect. We've had Doink the Clown. We've had Hornswoggle in several modes, and now we've got R-Truth, and I think the way that they're doing that with R-Truth is funny as hell.
It is, but I am so glad that he is finally getting a legitimate championship run.
Well,
He deserves that so much.
Yeah, he deserves the title. I mean, and what better to have it with The Miz? I mean,
right, and also to win it at WrestleMania.
Right, that goes without saying. But he's being who he is, and the smile that seems like it's always on his face. It seems like sometimes he's trying so hard not to laugh and crack up at his own jokes.
So is everybody else.
I mean, he knows damn well that isn't Degeneration X. That's DIY,
Yeah.
But he goes, oh, you're a hunter. Oh, you're a magician. I loved it. I mean,
Hunter trying to keep it together.
Yeah, I mean,
can I leave now?
I know. I did not like it Monday night. Every other time, I don't mind his humor, but Monday night, I found it kind of like you're almost disrespecting those new belts. Me personally, I like be serious for once.
Oh, the ones that disrespected the most were the two little screw ups on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, but they're heels. They're supposed to do that stuff.
But come on, I mean, R-Truth making Triple H laugh. I mean, you got to know he was cracking up on side.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got to think about the stress that guy's under, and to get a good laugh like that. Come on, that's got to make your day. That's not disrespecting you. That's kind of helping you.
I don't know. I saw that different. Just because they were getting new titles. If it was just in there saying congratulations, I would have been fine with it. But getting new belts and everything, I found it a little more.
Yeah, but R-Truth would have had to come out of character to do that, and they don't want that right now.
I wonder if there was a bet backstage
to see him.
Trying to get break Triple H, because there was a bet backstage with him breaking Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
So I wonder if maybe some people were doing the same thing with Triple H. But how often do you get to see him interact with all the guys out there?
I'm just saying, and Triple H is a pretty laid back guy most of the time behind the scenes. He is a pretty laid back guy. I mean, and if you think about he and Shawn Michaels were how much they were against Vince McMahon back in the day and the shit they pulled. I mean, they pulled a lot worse shit back in the day as Degeneration X than anybody.
And to think those are the two biggest ones in charge.
Yeah, and look how many times they came out in costumes instigating somebody else, Yep. Those guys were a laugh riot. Come on. I could see him on one of those shows or getting pranked backstage. I could see wrestlers saying, okay, which one of us can get the best of Triple H?
Well, what they should have done at one point is put R-Truth with Undertaker.
That would have been hard to do. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah. He was the hardest one to break.
Yep. Get him in that Undertaker mode and see if you can break him.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. R-Truth would have had to gotten pretty creative for that.
Yeah, that would have been moment.
Dude played the Undertaker for so many years and had to give that dead man stare.
So with the Undertaker, before we wrap up, because we're almost at 3 hours now. How did you guys like all of the run-ins on that last match? You had the Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, Usos, Solo. That's 6 of them right there. And I was saying before the match, expect about 10 people.
I did not like the Undertaker run-in. He had nothing to do with the story. I get the WrestleMania moment. I don't care. Do it somewhere else. Anybody else? I don't care who they were supposed to have. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, but you got to also look at it point of view. It's like, they beat the biggest faction, as in Cody Rhodes, and it's like a lot of these people, like the Undertaker, John Cena, and stuff that came out were kind of like mentors.
I get John Cena. John Cena had something to do storylines there, though, too, with Solo.
Right. But see, it wasn't just the Undertaker had connections with Cody outside of wrestling as well.
Well, he's also had connections with the
Dusty.
Well,
with who?
He's had connections with the Samoans as well.
Right. But Undertaker. And also Dusty Rhodes was like somebody that helped him get started.
Again, though, not in this storyline. So it was just kind of a random appearance to make a pop.
But it's also
Austin to come out.
But it was also a way for all these wrestlers to come out and congratulate Cody.
And that's fine. I don't mind the wrestlers coming out. That's cool. And I didn't mind Cody winning. Well, kind of. I'm not a big Cody fan. Sorry, Joe. But
I'm just saying that he was my pick to win.
Crybaby?
I'm not a Cody crybaby. I don't got the pink robe. But
I was a fan of both. I'm a fan of both, but I knew Roman had to take a break for a while.
Right, and that's absolutely cool. I don't mind that. I just didn't see a point of Undertaker being out there at all. All the rest had some kind of this storyline connection, bloodline storyline connection. And he did not. He's just a random WrestleMania pop business moment.
There is a rumor that it was supposed to have been Steve Austin originally.
Steve Austin, and Steve wouldn't do it because not enough money, couldn't come to a deal. And again, I wouldn't have liked that either because again, no storyline connection.
Well, that one wouldn't have made sense to me.
Had the biggest rivalry in the late 80s.
Yeah, they did.
80s, not bloodline. None of this is bloodline related, though. You can tell me.
Doesn't have to
be. Yeah, it does.
You got to realize though, this is a new generation,
right?
This is a new regime. It's not under anymore.
I know, and I get that, but I just like my dots connected is all. And him showing up was not a dot that was connected.
Well,
minus
I hate to break it to you. You're going to get a lot of dots that aren't going to get connected from now on.
I think they all will. I think a lot will. I just didn't get that one. I just thought it was a cheap WrestleMania pop. And I like Taker. Don't get me wrong there. I like Taker. I just didn't see it in that match.
You also got to realize in that short time that Vince got dethroned and Triple H took over, there wasn't a lot of the WrestleMania 40 plans were already in place because of Vince McMahon and his bullshit. So,
I know.
A lot of this stuff was like last minute stuff that they had to come up with, and it's not that easy to come up with something more complex to please your little dot connect.
Could have been a lot better than Undertaker. That's all I'm saying. For that particular storyline. I don't know who, but you could have done something.
Well, yeah.
Left it one person before.
But they were listening to the fans that, they need to put the Undertaker. Well, they didn't have a lot of time to come up with a storyline because if they did, they would
13
have
matches they could have, 12 matches they could have put him in.
they could have had Undertaker come out at Royal Rumble like he used to, or something like that, and make his appearance and say, "Okay, you're my opponent for WrestleMania."
Taker has recent history with LA Knight. Right there.
Well, but LA Knight was tied up in something else, see? So you have to.
And then LA Knight could have survived an Undertaker.
Well, next year we'll probably see a better WrestleMania because now it'll all be on Triple H and The Rock's head.
I like Night 1 a lot. Night 2, pretty good. My only real beef again is Undertaker, and we can agree to disagree on that one. How's that?
Well, but it was good. It was a good night. No,
and I'll give my props to Cody for winning, even though I didn't want it. I'll give my props to Cody for winning, and we'll see where it goes after the feel good gets over with.
It was a great celebration. I didn't want him to win either. I wanted Rome to keep going, but it made sense because it's WrestleMania 40, a generational WrestleMania, and they were also bringing in a brand new era with brand new leadership.
Exactly. When I sat back and thought about it, that's exactly how I thought about it, and I was like, okay, it makes sense.
I still think, because I did more research on Roman, his isn't AML, it's CML, which means it's chronic.
Chronic.
So I think at some point during his final days, the reason he wasn't being seen a lot on SmackDown is because he was in treatments. I mean, if you look closely at him sometimes, his stamina has been going down.
Yeah.
And that'll happen with those treatments, even if they are advanced with it. It's still a poison to kill the poison that's in your body. And blood cancer is nothing to mess with.
No.
And I believe he relapsed. And, the acting schedule, like I said, with acting, even if he's got acting on his schedule, he could still do that because there's always a hospital close by that he can have everything transferred to there to get and have his treatments when he's got the breaks in filming, or they can go around his schedule more. He's not on the road as much as he is now, so he's got more time to recoup. And I think when he comes back, we're going to see a civil war.
Yes, absolutely. In some way, shape, or fashion, we'll see it.
That would be one of the biggest things they might pull off, and that civil war might not end until next WrestleMania. They can carry that out for a while.
WrestleMania is going to be. Normally, they announce it during this year's WrestleMania where next year's is at, and they haven't even narrowed it down yet.
I've heard Minneapolis and Las Vegas are the two big choices I've heard. I'm hoping for Vegas, and maybe I'll go and enjoy not Mania, because I'm not paying $18,000 for a ticket, but all the side stuff.
Yeah, it would be cool if they could recreate how they did WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
It'd be really awesome if they could do that. All right, we're past 3 hours. We need to end the show.
Yeah.
Joe, it was fun. Jeremy, it was fun. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thank both of you guys for being on.
Sorry I was a little bit late. I stayed up late watching Dennis doing his thing.
Okay. So I don't know when we'll have another Marks on Wrestling show. Maybe next week. I don't know yet. I got to talk to Doc.
Right?
Yeah. So until next time, thank you for playing.
Bye, guys.
And we'll see you guys later.
See you when I see you.
Bye.